Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttatoosandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shadebeast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shadebeast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shadebeast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth. Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I'm your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now let's get this show on the road. What's going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. How are you all doing this week? You know what I'm doing? I'm doing all right, I guess. It's been an interesting last few weeks, I guess. It's been kind of messed up on the Mark forefront there for a while. But, you know, hey, we go through ups and downs in life, right? I guess so. So this week is going to be real short and sweet on the monologue. There's no Heavy Metal Wasteland. There's no Metal Mischief. Guess what? I'm not even going to play a song before getting into the interview here. This is going to be a straight up episode, and we'll listen to a song in the back of the show because this is a long one. This is like a 2-hour conversation I had with Nasty Nate McDaniel from the band Ohlm in Louisville, Kentucky, and they are playing tonight. This is Friday, by the way. I release these on Friday, so they're playing Friday at Planet of the Tapes with Prayer Line in Louisville, Kentucky. So be there. Fucking show up, support if you're in the Louisville area. If you're not and you're coming through, come on out. It'll be a pretty goddamn kick-ass show because they put on a show from hell. Like, seriously. They're an all-instrumental band. They put out, video and the lights and all of that stuff. It just kicks ass. You're gonna enjoy it, trust me. If you're in the area, stop in at Planet of the Tapes later and check these guys out, or check them out on the interwebs, like on the YouTubes and shit like that. Check them out there as well. And yeah, just enjoy metal, have a good time, be cool to each other, don't fucking say dumb shit, and just have fucking fun. So let's go ahead and get into this. This is with Nasty Nate of Ohlm. All right, maniacs. This week is super fucking cool because we have Nasty Nate. Woo. Nate McDaniel from the band Ohlm and other things. Dude, what the fuck is up?
Not much. Finally getting to do this radio interview.
It's podcast these days.
We're not on the radio. It was supposed to, like you said, it was supposed to be a radio deal before.
Yeah. It was supposed to be on the radio because this is the elusive, this is the great white buffalo over here.
You can't get us for interviews, can't book us for shows.
Nothing,
man.
So this was supposed to be on the radio days of the fucking Metal Forge back in 2019 on WCHQ. And like we kept saying we should have it happen, but it couldn't fucking happen. I think you'd also just moved around that same time.
Yeah, right around then. Yeah,
to the middle of cousin fuck Kentucky.
Oh yeah,
and it's like we couldn't fucking work it out. So here we are, 4 years later, but you guys probably wouldn't have been conducive to the studio environment because they had like a jazz cocktail kit with the mesh heads and the fucking aerated cymbals and stuff.
Yeah, and probably like a little Fender 10-inch amp or something for me.
No, you could do direct, dude.
I could? Oh, well.
Yeah, if you had
now I'd be all about that,
Back in that day, you want fucking six Marshall 4x12s.
Yeah, man, I'm like, I need 2 cabs. And that's hard about doing radio performances in that aspect. Like, we've tried it before, and it's just, you could barely use any of it when we get real loud because it's mainly using low tunings too,
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's now with the days of direct, it could probably be more possible. To be honest, I never did think about that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what's wild about that is what you just sit there and said about when we get loud, and that is one thing I've always appreciated about Ohlm is your ridiculous whatever's going on up in your head. The dynamic of things, everything has its own dynamic, from a real low volume, low timbre, whatever you want to call it, to screaming through the fucking roof without actually screaming, of course.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's Dave and me both. The dynamic thing is really just it was a perfect storm of people to get together. We had been playing together. We've been playing together for 13 years now. Me and Josh have been playing together since we were kids. I've known him since we were in elementary school. But Dave and Josh and me getting together was really an ideal. When we found Dave, it was me and Josh already playing, and then we just was jamming with this band and the Chicago gig, named Dave. There's a band called, I think it wasn't Assisting Sorrow. Anyways, it was their other band. It's him and Leffler. I mean, I don't know if you know who Eric Leffler is, but God, yeah. I mean, he is psychotically badass guitar player.
Oh fuck, he's insane, and he's back with fucking Brian and
it's killer, man. I've got to hear some of the stuff, and it's really really good. But anyways, he was playing with them, and we was like, dude, this guy's good, and this is what we're wanting to do is this instrumental proggy type thing. So we totally, all of us are dynamic freaks. We're all about that, the big boom, the low. We both have volume pedals. and we're constantly using them back and forth for dynamic stuff. Like, you'll think, oh, that sounds heavy, then no, I'll kick it all the way forward, or he'll kick it forward, and it's really, So it's about the dynamics. When you don't have a singer, you have to be dynamic, I think.
Yes, absolutely. You have to do things that keep people's attention, and you guys did this way before I think anybody in the music scene here in Kentucky with using video.
Yeah, the video thing, to me, I think, there was a lot of bands, there's been bands doing that for a while too, but they were just using it for visual,
Yeah, but to have it a part of your show.
Yeah.
Shades of Tool and stuff like that. But the cool thing about it is on a, and I've always said I hate to say the word local when it applies to music, because everybody knows I'll beat that fucking dead horse. Okay.
Yeah.
So in an independent setting, using video that corresponds with what you are writing, and playing, versus Pink Floyd, Tool, all those bands that did that stuff, that in just in the early stages of that for independent bands, 2003, 4, 5, 6, that independent bands weren't doing that then.
Yeah, I mean, they just the thing is once I got into that part of it, seeing the visual side of it, we have this guy named James Kemper in the early days, and he did all of our visual stuff from scratch, and sometimes he'd use some stock stuff here. So you get the Dresden bombing stuff, which is really cool for some stuff, the apocalyptic scenes and stuff. But this guy was actually taking huge fish aquariums and filling them with warm water, and then taking oils and dyeing them and dropping them into it for swirl effects.
Dude, he's doing real practical effects.
Yeah, we weren't taking them from anybody. He was hiring actors to do scenes for things, stuff like that. It was, and we just artistically, me, him, Dave, and Josh all really, it worked, it gelled. So we got lucky because we had that guy, and I think that helped on that. But once you get up there and you start talking to people after you've been playing in a band for a little while, and you're doing the visual thing like that, and people are like, man, it's just you guys are so different. You got the visuals and stuff and everything, and it's well, we kind of have to have this visual scape too to keep you, because a lot of people are very into the having to have a singer and have a lyric.
Yeah,
and and I understand it. I love, Dude, Dio is God, I don't hate singers, but I'll be honest with you, I don't listen to a lot of modern music that has singers in it.
I get that.
I don't. I still rock all my Rainbow, all my Ozzy. I'm rock stuff from the 90s still, but most of the new bands that come out that I listen to, if they've got a singer, unless they're local, I love local scene, underground stuff, because it's always more pure.
Right. It's before, when you do it for love of the game as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, more singers are convincing to me when they're hungry.
Yeah.
Is basically what it boils down to. And a guy that's, hauling all of his gear 2 hours away to play for 25, 30 people, he's got a lot of, probably something built up there. And he's doing it because he loves it. Yeah, and he loves it. Obviously, he loves it. And, he's got... That's why metal dudes are probably salty and better at the anger and really getting it across. Is because we don't get the respect still sometimes. For the work.
Fuck no. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why that's why the Metal Forge is here, is to get that shit out and to fucking tell people that, it's fucking evil and dirty and cruel a lot of times, and it don't matter. It's this business is so interesting because, in a fucking quote unquote regular world fucking business shit, you can get to the top and you can fucking come down just a little bit, you fuck up and you get demoted or fired, but you always have that next leap to where you need to be.
Yeah. Well, you should take it as a learning lesson too, something in that aspect of it.
Music is totally not that.
Yeah.
You can fucking hit the top.
Yeah.
And then fucking... you could fucking be nothing.
Yeah.
The next fucking day.
I've seen it, man. It's crazy. I mean, the guys down in LA, I got friends in Los Angeles.
I think everybody does.
Everybody's got friends in LA. Have you ever ate a taco in LA type shit? But it's
I've got an
and it's
taco
vicious.
story about LA.
Oh, dude, I can tell you some pretty good taco stories. I don't know if we're talking about the same kind of taco. But, no, but I mean, I've got friends down there that are like playing and like, I mean, they're on labels, man. They're really doing stuff. I mean, I could name drop all day, but I mean, it's like, dude, these are guys that are working in studios or have their own thing going, and they're like, dude, it's a struggle. They're like, if you don't stay in it, in the scene, like in a year, no one knows who you are. He's like, they'll give you that 2 years maybe tops, to like work it out and get a new album out, get back out on the road. They're like, but man, you go much past that. They're like, you're tumbleweeds, man. Yeah. And I'm like, that's horrible. To me, staying in the local where, I get to only have to, I mean, I like playing gigs, don't get me wrong, but if you can play like 3 gigs a month, say 3 or 4 gigs a month, do all right on that, have a good head turnout, and people just love it, that's gratifying to me. I don't have to get on a plane and fly around the world to get my rocks off playing music, I mean, that sounds fun and shit, but, it also sounds like a lot of responsibility,
Yeah.
And to me, I don't want it to be a fucking job.
Yeah, you don't want to have to punch the time clock either.
Also, though, I wouldn't mind making just enough, to really like I don't need a mansion. I don't need all that shit, but if I made enough, and there are dudes doing that. I mean, like shit. I mean, there's so many musicians in Louisville that are in signed bands that are doing like, oh yeah, man, we just played Donington. Yeah, then I had to go back and work the sandwich shop. Like that shit happens, man. People don't believe it, but I'm like, I know a dude that just played Donington and now he's back there changing tires.
Dude, we were in my living room a minute ago, and this is all relevant, okay, to something going on. So we were in the room, and you sit there and you saw the Master era poster on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, dude, I love that poster. And it's like, yeah, I do too. It's fucking awesome. And like, that would be the other fucking perfect shot poster that I would love to have, is the one that's taken, I think it's during the Ride the Lightning era. And it's like the first time that Metallica played Donington. And it's taken from like where the drum set is.
Yeah, it's from behind, dude. And you see
the fucking crowd of people, and you see James up on the front of the stage. Yeah. You see giant fucking like 40-ounce beer bottles.
Yeah. And see the big old bell bottoms up on the monitor from Cliff. Like I think he's or something like that. I remember that.
And it's just the fucking dirtiest, nastiest fucking stage ever.
It's metal, man.
And it is. And it was metal, and it was fucking awesome.
That
poster would hang in front of where the TV is.
Oh yeah, dude. I would totally rock that like family photo shit. Frame that thing like above the mantle. I love Metallica. I mean, they get a lot of shit, but man, I don't think people that are in like around our age group, well, I mean, I'm approaching my mid 40s now, like that.
Right.
And when we were kids, and everybody's like, when we heard Justice for the first time, and that was really when a lot of people were introduced to it. It's like we all kind of heard some flamerings of things here and there, stuff like that. But when you heard Injustice, it was like, what the fuck is going on? It was a game changer, and I think a lot of people nowadays in music that diss on Metallica, they forget that they wrote and recorded And Justice for All after they lost like the baddest member of their fucking band, which it was probably halfway written, but still anyways. And that shit changed metal. Yeah. Like it completely changed metal. And even though maybe later on down the road, right in the late 90s, they changed metal kind of again, because I want to say Metallica is even probably fucking responsible for most of the new metal that came out in the mid 90s, because when they did Load and Took a Chance, there was a lot of bands that it emboldened them,
Yeah, it gave them something that they could sit there and be like, if the heaviest band or what. Not even the heaviest band,
but just the most metal fucking band. It's probably literally the biggest. They're a household name. There are people that have never fucking heard Metallica,
but they know
that name, know who they are. That's when you went somewhere.
And I liked a lot of the hearsay stories, like about them suing Revlon for the name. And
oh, dude. I mean, it's just like, me and you could fucking sit here all night and go through like the lore or whatever of things you hear. Like, I saw a picture of fucking Robert Trujillo and James Hetfield getting T-shirts from Armani that were $80 each. At that point, when you're that rich, I mean, you could buy 10 of those shirts, wear them one day, throw them away. I mean,
dude, I know a guy I know a guy, and I could name drop, as Nate said earlier.
Yeah, I could.
All night,
yeah, we can do this all night, I'm sure. Yeah.
I know a guy, and I love him to death. He's a fucking bass player, and like he just kicks so much ass. Okay, he's a great fucking personality, great fucking player. You know, just an awesome all around person. And he was signed to a record deal back in the early 2000s, about the same time that Metallica was looking for a bass player. And he hit up management and he said, hey, we're kind of doing this, we're kind of stagnant right now. Is there, how do I set up an audition with them? And they're like, it's by invitation only.
Oh, of course. Of course. I could totally see that shit. To be completely honest.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Jordy White, hey Twiggy, come over here. Yeah. We're inviting you, to be a part of this movie.
Yeah.
We will pay you.
Who's a good bass player, actually? When it comes to when it came to that group, holding it down.
When it came to that group of people auditioning,
yeah.
Do you not seriously think that you see and I'm not discrediting any of their abilities because they are all great where they are.
Yeah.
Twiggy, is great with what he does. Fucking Pepper Keenan's great with where he is. The dude from the Cult that was in there.
Yeah, he did that.
Fucking and then Rob comes in.
Who,
Ultimate California dude, obviously. And the history with, Infectious Grooves. They've known him for a long time, too. He kind of is a level above all those other guys.
Yeah, they had to know as soon as he came through the fucking door, or even once they got wind of it, that was a done deal.
Yeah.
Because literally, out of all those dudes who, like I said, are great bass players at what they do and could have probably filled that role. Honestly, really when it comes to holding it down like the way Metallica does, if you've got the speed and some semi-chops as a bass player, you could probably work that, especially since, they do a lot of their new catalog and everything. But, man, when you see a guy like Robert Trujillo come through the door,
and he's
like you said,
I know battery.
Yeah, total California boy, which they want, for one.
Well, yeah.
That's a big thing, and people don't see that. I've got a friend that, when Head was doing his own band, he'd went down there and he'd been playing drums. He played drums with them for a couple months, man. And but he'd been flying back home, and spending a week or two when they were off and coming back and everything. And they were like, well, we want you in the band, but you've got to move here. And a lot of bands want that because a lot of it's the vibe thing, I think, too. Is they're like, well, man, I want to be able to hit you up. I'm like, hey, man, let's all go out for sushi, and then we're going to go do us a podcast or something like that, hang out. The camaraderie of it, I understand, too.
Well, and I think you got to be readily available to your group because, when that happens, and you all have to jive to the schedule.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks because it is like punching the time clock there. But it's
at that point, it is.
Honestly, the cool thing about it was, and this was just here a couple weeks ago with Dave Ellefson, man, talking with him, he was just like, yeah, man, can we keep it about 30 minutes? And I'm like, dude, yeah, that's totally cool. And it was 32 minutes. And I'm like, hey, Dave, we hit 32. Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, but anyways, and what I'm saying is,
oh, yeah.
And he went over 17 minutes.
Well, that's cool, man.
And I was like, holy shit, dude, that's awesome.
See, I love him, and, I won't get into anything I
don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't, you see, the thing is, and I don't even acknowledge shit like that. That guy's one of the baddest bass players in the world, and that he has been on some, 6, 7, 8 of the baddest metal albums that ever, I love Megadeth consecutively, all the way. I say
all the way until the first time Junior left the band.
Yeah, man. There you go.
And
that's
then
a
what
great
happened?
way to put it, man.
And then what happened when Junior came back?
Yep.
In the I'm gonna exclude one album there, and that's fucking Super Collider.
Being a Shredder
Kingmaker
fan.
Kingmaker's on that album.
Yeah,
and that I like Kingmaker. But no, back to the Trujillo thing.
Yeah.
Really fast. I totally think they had him perfectly planted in mind. Boom, this was it. But the funny thing about it is somebody told me the other day, and I love her to death, and I'm going to sit there and, Courtney, she listens, and I'm going to sit there and say, she told me, he's like, yeah, but he's wasting his talent in Metallica.
Oh.
And I sit there and I immediately said, like he didn't for fucking Ozzy and Black Label Society.
I was like, yeah, you're going to start pulling up.
And she goes,
yeah, man, I mean,
true.
I mean, honestly, he's probably doing way fucking more Metallica than he was in those two bands. His best thing was Infectious Grooves, if you ask me.
Suicidal with him is great.
Suicidal's awesome with him.
Like Lights Camera Revolution is a fucking top-notch thrash end of era thrash album.
Oh yeah, man, that's some killer shit actually.
Lost
Suicidal
Again.
Tendencies. You'd never heard nothing when I was a kid and we were skaters and first heard Suicidal Tendencies. You'd never heard no shit like that. And of course, skaters come by because it's like, naturally, skaters are drawn to Suicidal Tendencies. They're skaters in their videos. They're involved in that shit.
And you can look at Mike. Yeah. Look at Mike Mirror.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I remember this kid when I lived in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. It was the weirdest place to see this though. But he was like this skater kid, man. And he was 16 years old. I was probably like 12, something like that. He wore a Suicidal Tendencies shirt, and I always would rock that shit on a jam box while he was skating around the school. And I was like, man, that guy's always cool. He's cool as shit, man. He's a skater, and he's listening to this cool heavy band, says suicide and stuff into the psycho. And you know what I'm saying? And so as I grow older, eventually, I can have those albums. Because when I was a kid, we weren't allowed to have that. I had to hide my Metallica album.
Oh, Jesus.
I put it in like a fucking Kenny Loggins case or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking George Harrison's Pop 80s
I got
segment.
My mom. Yeah. I mean, hey, man. It's kind of crazy. It's like the Beatles
I actually
suck apart to me. But together,
Right. Yeah. But, I actually do like that song.
That's a cool song.
Because I think in that same era, there are 3 songs that fucking convey the exact same energy by 3 different artists. And it's I Got My Mind Set on You by George Harrison. You think of that fucking beat. Then fucking Bang the Drum All Day.
Yeah.
That's got okay. And fucking Pete Townsend, If My Love Opened the Door.
Oh my God,
those 3 songs, they're all like released around the same time.
They are. That is right. It's right. Like what, 84
or 81, 82.
Shit, I remember that when I was a kid, man.
And like, if you ever heard those, it's like they never played those 3 songs back to back on any station.
Yeah.
Only a weirdo with fucking, who taped the radio.
One of us.
Yeah, one of us. A weirdo who taped the radio. I taped the fucking radio when I was a kid, Yeah. It's an easy way to pirate music.
Well, yeah, that's how we all did it.
Yeah.
Boom.
And then
Metal Pit, thank you, Black Frank and Eddie Metal. Ooh,
oh,
I got so much shit from that show,
dude. Still?
No, I mean, hey, I bet I can still find cassettes.
Oh,
I'm not even lying, dude. Of like me recording.
We will digitize that.
I'm telling you, and they got Death playing in the background the whole time. He's like Black Frank, Metal Pit, 100.5 the Fox.
Dude, you sound just like him.
Oh, dude, I grew up on that. I actually, dude, I used to. I had a little stay down the road from here, up in the top of Grantline Hill. There used to be a shelter there. When I was young, I was kind of a pretty crazy kid at times.
Outcast.
Got in a little trouble here and there. When you get in trouble, they'll throw you in this youth shelter. They'll let you like live your life like normal, but every night you come home and you go there, right? All I had was the radio. I still love the radio because it helped me through some of that stuff, and just loved it. And because when I wanted metal, dude, when Testament Low dropped, I was the hugest Testament fan, right? I couldn't afford that shit, I couldn't, back then CDs, like tapes were to become
when they played it.
Yeah, when they played it, I was waiting for it. It was like, boom, recorded it. And like, dude, that album has like got so much like influence on me, man. Dogface Gods. I remember he's like, here's a new one from Testament. Fresh off the track, boom, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, man!"
Right?
And those were my boys, man. I mean, a lot of motherfuckers say shit about them guys, but I like those dudes,
Right? And it's like the whole fucking thing of like, coming up in 3 songs, we're gonna have this, and this.
See, that's it.
And dude, that's where I fell in love with like, when I got into radio, it's like the thing in like The Sopranos where fucking Tony's like, did you ever feel like, the best days are gone and I'm coming in at the end? And it's like, yeah, and I kind of did.
You kind of did, actually.
I kind of came in at the end, literally, because they closed that year.
Man, I don't know if you.
But I had harebrained schemes.
I don't know if you've heard the format change lately, but like one of the radio stations local has changed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the other day I heard Almost Honest, and then it went into one. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? Is this some kind of like block day on Wednesday or something? Because, they have that Big Hair Wednesday. I'm like, certainly they're not calling Megadeth and Metallica big hair music now, right?
Oh, that would be the worst, because they were so... Dave, maybe.
Well, dude, then it continued. Then it was Soundgarden. Then it was Nirvana. And I was like, has the format changed? I was like, did it take like 9 Louder Than Lifes for them to realize that there's a market for metal here on the radio? But it brought back memories. Like when I heard, I heard those songs on the radio, and I was like, oh, cool, man.
Dude, like, I remember being a kid and was just sitting there, like, fucking... I remember the first time I heard fucking And Justice for All.
Oh, dude. I still remember that.
And I still remember, like, hearing that era first, and then hearing the Black Album, and then hearing the shit before that.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is like, that's exactly how it went with me too, is like, well, I got into them, Justice, probably Garage Days really might have been the first thing I heard by them, but that's all covers,
Yeah.
I went the same way as you. It was that, and then shortly after, by the time I'd gotten into it, there's Black Album, that, and I had to go back, like you said. And I went back and I got into Kill 'Em All, and like that was my album. Like I was like, oh, dude, because it's almost fucking punk, and it's certain.
Oh, dude,
to me,
I mean, Phantom Lord, Metal Militia.
Oh yeah, I mean, just
my favorite fucking song, and I told you this in text, is fucking Whiplash.
Oh, Whiplash is the shit. It's one of the best songs they ever wrote. No Remorse, Whiplash, Phantom Lord.
Dude,
I mean, like those
fucking,
are like, that whole album, dude, and even the covers they do on it. Blitzkrieg is the shit. Am I the Evil? I mean, that whole album.
2 weeks ago, from when the time this is airing, fucking Brian Tatler was on the show, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Fucking Diamond fucking Head, man.
Dude, that's insane.
He's a fucking great dude.
Really?
He
cool.
He was eating dinner, and he's like, here, let me put this down so we can do the interview.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad to hear that, man.
I love that dude,
a
man.
lot of those dudes, sometimes you meet them, and it's like you wish you had not fucking met them. I've met a lot of dudes, and it's been like completely different than that.
Oh yeah,
that's really cool. I like hearing that. I really do, man.
But see, like the whole thing with like with Metallica and the Diamond Head connection, was where they pretty much covered fucking Lightning to the Nations. The entire album.
Yeah, man, they just throw that shit in at shows a lot. That, and they did a lot of the old school stuff like that. The early death metal, I guess is what you're thinking, or Blackish type stuff too. I heard about half the bands that I'm listening to because of their T-shirts. To be honest, Misfits. You see them wearing a Misfits T-shirt. I was like, who's
Cliff? Yeah,
yeah. Cliff's got the Misfits tattoo. I got a tattoo right on the same place, just about almost.
Somebody is like, introduced me, and we were talking at a show and everything, and she's like, yeah, his favorite band's Metallica, and it's like, no, it's not. It's actually, I don't have any Metallica tattoos. Yeah. But, I do have a fucking Venom one, and a Priest, and a King, and fucking Eddie, and the King Bat, and fucking Alice, and fucking Sabbath,
tattoo is
and
awesome,
fucking Motorhead.
I've never noticed that before. Those eyes are badass.
Dude, Jared fucking Spicer, it's like his first realistic tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's done...
It's good work, man.
He has done, from here, all of this in 2022.
Oh, yeah, you've been getting some work done, man. Hell
Fuck yeah.
And I ain't had one in so long. I got an appointment coming up with
Phil.
Pumped,
we
man.
love him.
I love Ageless. I've been going there for years. I mean, but I have not had it. You know how you go a while without having it, you're like, oh, I just got to get a tattoo.
Yeah.
But I've got a lot of band tats.
Dude, it's fucking therapy.
Yeah. I'm not getting a band tat this time. But, like, I've got tons of them. I got my fucking Guar tattoo. I love it still. It's great. I got it right after Dave died. And, they're huge. I love them. I got to work some shows for them. It's stagehand stuff.
Yep. Got him right here on an Overload merchandise card.
I love him, but Dave might be a bigger, just like Gwar freak. Like, he knows every single word. Like, and he's always trying to get us to go. He's like, cover, Gwar song. I'm like, I would be about it.
Dude, you all need to cover Saddam Go.
I'm down, man. I'm down.
And actually get people that you know to do the horns.
Oh, dude, listen, Beyond Hell album is a fucking thrash masterpiece, and I've been telling people that. I'm just like, Battle Maximus. I got a little cousin named Luke, and he's like straight looks like a younger version of Eddie Munson. Mm-hmm. Like, he's got that whole thing going on and everything, except instead of it being like a look because the show got bigger, he's looked like that. He's raised by people that think Tesla's still the best damn band in the world, which they are. They're a great band. But
hey, they're about to put out something new anyway.
Hey, man, they shred. But I told him, he's like, he's like, I'm really starting to get into thrash. He's like, and of course, he's like, I got all the Testament and this and stuff. And I was like, you want to hear something that'll blow your fucking mind? I was like, listen to Battle Maximus by Gwar. Take it for what it is and don't think about it. I just take it as a metal album. And he was like, Jesus. I'm like, yeah, dude. I was like, people look at him and see the costume stuff. I'm like, to me, that's a perk. But I can understand where people are like, oh, I'm a little thrown off by this,
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh, it's so hokey. They're in costumes. I'm like, dude, just close your eyes and listen to the rippage going on.
Oh yeah,
because dude, I remember when I got into them real heavy after I heard them become a metal band. Like before, we was watching them on Beavis and Butthead and shit, and they'd come on Headbangers Ball and stuff sometimes.
Yeah,
and I think Odorous was on Headbangers Ball in an episode, fucking with Ricky Rackman or something.
Hey, and he's coming to Headliners.
Who, Ricky?
Ricky is.
Oh man.
He's
still fucking around.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's doing his it's not stand up. It's his kind of
like spoken word.
Yeah,
like,
spoken
sort of like
word.
How Rollins does things.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm sure he's got some stories, dude.
He'll be in the Louisville area in May, so check that out because we are informative here too.
Oh yeah.
We try to be.
Get your metal news right here.
Yeah, on MTV News.
Dude, you hear it
right.
And everybody, I don't give a shit. Everyone's heard that, like in our age range.
Yeah, where it's
I'm just like, yeah, you've heard Megadeth. You probably don't even
I've
know
Kurt
it.
Loder with MTV News.
Yeah, you probably don't even know it. You've heard Megadeth.
I love the movie Airheads for that reason, where Kurt Loder's in a spot in there, and he's like, wait a minute, is that right? The Lone Rangers? He's like, cut. It's like, what? Come on, man.
But I like how they were all sports about it back then in movies and stuff, and you see stuff. I miss the 90s. I'll have to say that, things that were a lot different. Movies were a lot cooler to me, it seemed like then. Comedies, everything, even the sappy, just stupid ones, like Airhead was just so goofy.
Yeah, but it's honestly, to me, it is the 90s version of This Is Spinal Tap.
Well, yeah, it is.
When you seriously think about it, the shit that they do, it's like that happens to all of us.
Yeah.
And for lack of a better reference here, I'm watching Better Call Saul right now.
Oh, okay.
And I slept on the whole Breaking Bad thing. I recently watched the entire series and was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I've never watched Saul because, and man, that's what everybody says. They're like, oh,
if you know the show and how fucked up and crazy it is, it's the same crazy that's in Breaking Bad. Let's just say
which
that.
Which is pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, and Saul basically tells a brand new receptionist on her first day, saying, he's like, this is not a typical week here. But it is. That's the wink. It's like, and that's really what I'm getting at with the Airheads thing, where they were a good sport about it. The spoofing MTV, with it. And that just crazy, weird Spinal Tap shit. It's the fucking, like, the wink and the nod to the show.
I could see, to me, like, to see what's his name, Buscemi,
yes,
too, in that role,
who looks like fucking Rex Brown.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Andy's playing a bass too.
Yeah,
so shit. And
his name is Rex.
Maybe that's what he did. He's like, tell you what, I'm gonna base my character off these dudes I've been hanging out with in Texas, this crazy metal band. I want to, in my mind, I want to think that they hung out with Buscemi. Like,
Yeah.
to get into that role, he did some real method acting type shit. And he's
Meth.
like, I'm gonna get
Method act.
Have you ever been around meth people? No. Yeah.
That's the unfortunate thing for Steve Buscemi. You gotta love him because he could totally be typecast as the stereotypical meth abuser.
Yeah, the twitchy guy, you know.
Yeah.
Always, yeah. I mean, he does a good job at it. I mean, it's like...
But he is an amazing humanitarian.
Oh, yeah. He's a great actor, too. I mean, he does a lot of cool voices on cartoons, and he does villains on, like, DC Comics stuff.
Yep.
I want to say he's done the Joker or Riddler or something one time on
Interesting.
one I've heard. Something
You
like
know,
that.
my favorite movie with him is a movie that most people probably would never have heard of. Is $20.
I have not watched that. Is that like on Hulu or something right now?
It might be.
Because I've seen it I've never watched that because it had his name in it. And I've seen about everything he's in.
I watched it about 20 years ago for the first time. And it's basically the story of how this $20 bill gets passed around fucking town and the different walks of life of whose hands it touches, you know?
That's kind of dirty.
It is.
Kind of, you're just like,
but it's
interesting.
But it is a great fucking movie.
Yeah,
it's all. I don't think it's an Aronofsky film, but it almost kind of seems like it could be.
Okay, I can see what you're saying.
You know,
I mean,
that
he's a
whole
great actor.
Life
He's gotta
of
be
Pi, or not Life of Pi, but Pi and fucking who also has the Hector Salamanca, the guy from the wheelchair guy, the old cartel guy that. Yeah.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
The Breaking Bad stuff again?
Yeah. He's in most of the Aronofsky stuff.
Man, I mean...
I think he's in Requiem for a Dream.
That's a messed up movie, man. Oh, that movie... I watched that movie 2 times, right?
I only had to watch it once.
Yeah, I didn't need to watch it the second time. I mean, it is
so
like,
you're a sadist.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, dude.
Actually,
the funny thing is I watched it with a couple of my friends, and I was like, man, this shit's crazy. This is a little bit too deep for me, right? And I won't lie. I mean, I've had a lot of friends that's on drugs. I've had my dabblings in doing drugs and stuff like that. But this shit was just like too real when you see a scumbaggery of dudes that are junkies. And I'd seen some junkies in my day. I walk out the next day and they're watching again. This is the Blockbuster days when you rent a VHS, and it's just like, I got 2 days to watch it, so I'm going to get my watches in on it.
Yeah, right.
And you do that, you know what I'm saying? You'd be like, well, I got Big Trouble in Little China, I got 2 days, I'm going to burn it up, Be kind, rewind.
Hopefully the movie didn't suck.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you felt like you wasted $4.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, and I had to get up and go there. It's totally more easier. But yeah, I mean, like I walk in the living room and they're watching it again, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? I was like, that was a disturbing movie. I was like, I don't need to see this shit again. Take it out and get back to Blockbuster and get us a comedy or something, man.
No shit.
Right? I mean, it was just like so. But I mean, like Jared Leto actually is a great actor. I
like him in like one movie
when he does like weird shit like that, like in the Dallas Buyers Club. That guy like completely transformed. I loved that movie.
And then when he was Mark David Chapman,
yeah, man,
and Prefontaine, Steve Prefontaine,
Alexander. I don't know if you've seen that, like with him and Colin Farrell in it. But he kicks ass in that too. Well, I mean, I'm on to the Game of Thrones stuff and all the old stuff with the battles like that. I like sword fights more than gun fights.
Oh yeah,
so I'm all about that.
Well, I mean, it depends on the era. I think the Eastwood gunfight,
that's
like
different.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That's different. Now the West is different.
Yeah, because it's almost like
Gunslingers are.
Yep, dude. That's why I have a song called Gunslinger.
Exactly,
because fucking. It's what it is.
High noon, baby. I love that shit.
And that's where the original genesis of the podcast is every day at high noon. Because you're a fucking gunslinger, man. Well, yeah. That's when we drop the episodes. Right? Sorry. I had to check a text here. So, yeah. I mean, it's just like...
Well, it is a Wild West kind of situation. And I've heard that put in a sense when it comes to the shredders as of late, because... I'm a real big fan of like a lot of these new cats that are coming out are real good, but they talk about the old dudes like gunslingers, like that, like a dying breed type thing.
But they were, dude. Like seriously, think of like your gunslingers out there, the ones that are gone, that are only living on legend status.
Yeah,
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
Think of fucking like Stevie Ray, man, and the way he played. then we have video of that, and that's awesome because it's proof. It's legend proof, you know. But think of like the people like Django Reinhardt, who fucking was badass, fucking with the messed up hand, you know.
Dude, anybody that can play gypsy jazz and even attempt it is insanity. But yeah, I mean, like, there's like minimal footage of him. Like, is there even any footage?
I don't even. I think there's like one or two things.
Maybe I've not heard of a lot. If there is, I mean, but
I think I've only seen pictures of the deal, but like that's who fucking Tony Iommi's boss gave him a record of, and told him the story about him, and that was when Tony decided to do the keep playing and shit.
Yeah, I remember reading that in his book. That was a good book.
Oh yeah,
I
Iron
love
Man.
Iommi. I mean, Sabbath is still like either formation of Sabbath to me. Don't get me wrong when I say this. I love them both. But
both,
man, that first
both. I mean, there's like 9.
I mean, to me, there's Dio and Ozzy era. To me, it defines
the IRS stuff is good.
Tony Iommi's in the band, and to me, in a sense, like he's the riffmeister in that. And I know that he's kind of had to be the guy to take the reins in that band for years and control it in that situation. But it's worked. But I mean, like to me, like there's two. There's Ozzy era and there's Dio era. And I mean, anybody else besides that, which they've had other people, I know that, but those are two of my favorite singers.
Yeah, like, Tony Martin and Ray Gillan, right?
I think that might.
No, it was Ian Gillan.
It was Ian Gillan.
Yeah, Ian Gillan, Deep Purple. Yeah.
I read some interesting shit about him too, man. I guess the singer from Deep Purple that was with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never really known much about him, and it's just he seemed like a really interesting guy. I was like, if he has a book, I'd like to read his book.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I mean, like, ultimately, I think when it comes to like the biographies and autobiographies and stuff like that, that's so cool. Dude, listen to the audiobooks sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's even better. Like the fucking book Confess by Rob Halford. I don't know if you've read it.
No.
Dude, it's great.
I love Rob, dude. He come by one time and gave me the whole on the shoulder one time right after a show. The first Louder Than Life, I had access to be back there. And I sat right on stage when they were playing. And I was like, the whole time, he's like, oh, they played this song. This is great. They played this. They're going to play Victim of Changes. Come on. Every song. No, they didn't play it. Then finally, about midway through, they start playing Victim of Changes. And that's like my fucking song, dude. And I was just pumped up. I know that, I mean, I guess they probably saw me because I was right on the side literally right by the PA. I could look out and see the crowd and everything. He walked by me and he's like, it was a good show, chap. And hit me right on the arm. And I was like, But total like, oh, I'm not washing this jacket ever again.
Yes.
I mean, and dude, Halford, like Priest to me, like I remember Turbo Lover was a bit. Like you gotta think. I saw Bark at the Moon when that shit was on MTV. You know, like I was a kid, but I had 2 metalhead uncles that babysat me from my mom. She was a single mom and had to work a lot and stuff, you know, to keep me and my brother up. So they babysit us, and both of them metalheads, right? So it's like I'd be sitting there in the morning eating bowls of cereal with them, watching Ozzy Bark at the Moon video, and like that shit just sank in with me. You know, I was like, Ozzy's the best, Dio. You know, I got brought up by guys that had a really good perspective on metal music. Of course, back then, metal music there wasn't a whole lot of. It's oversaturated to me now. Back then, it's like every band was awesome. You know,
right?
Yeah, it's like you'd hear. I mean, Metallica, you weren't hearing none of that shit on MTV or anything back then, of course. You know, like, to hear Ozzy probably was a godsend even, but...
Yeah, but I think Ozzy was the more,
popular and accepted.
The more popular because of his time with Black Sabbath. And let's face it, Blizzard's a fucking amazing album.
It is amazing.
And, and my two of my favorite songs on that album, it's a jam the whole fucking way through. It's a jam the whole fucking way through, and I absolutely love the care that was written into Revelation Mother Earth to Steal Away the Night.
That's the baddest fucking song on that album to me, man.
Yeah, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then it slams
when they get to that bland, like the whole ending, like right when they do that big classical ending, and then they go right into Steal Away the Night. I mean, that Steal Away the Night's one of the baddest songs. That's one of Randy Rhoads' baddest guitar solos, in my opinion. I mean, and I still think some of the shit he did on Diary is like phenomenal, like crazy good. But man, there's just something about Steal Away the Night.
Yeah, something about it.
Something about that.
And
song.
You know what's so fucking cool about it is like Because you get the that one part in Steal Away the Night, that
oh, that riff, yeah.
Which is also in The Hellion by Judas Priest.
Well, yeah, man. Taters, totters, man.
And,
you know,
and it's almost like the similar comparison one would claim would be Curse of the Pharaohs and 2 Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah, oh, totally. I mean, you know, I could see it, you know, where you can like really compare things like that, and a lot of metal, especially.
But like,
I mean,
those
Sabbath,
they came
Sabbath
out at the same time.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, Sabbath was ripped off so much, and is still ripped off so much to me. Like, it's like I see it, I hear it, see it, I hear it in pop music, you know, nowadays, and that's cool. I mean, whatever, you know. But to me, fuck, even back in the day, like, you know, like they weren't really considering themselves a metal band. That was later. But, I mean, that was like, what was that like? What was that like when you showed up and Sabbath was playing, you know, in the early days? And
you know, I posed a what if.
It had to be hair-raising, sort
Dude,
of.
could you imagine fucking the show in 1985? The first reunion.
Oh.
With Ozzy, 80s Ozzy in the silver fucking jacket.
I've seen pictures of that shit, yeah.
And fucking Tony dressed in fucking all black leather. Fucking
did he have the mustache on or off in this one?
It's on.
Is it okay? Because man, I seen a picture with him without it, and it was weird.
Yeah,
dude. You know?
he has too much upper lip.
Yeah. Homer Simpson lip shit going.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's like weird to see him like in like Volume 4 and shit when he doesn't have the mustache. But like, could you imagine if in 1985 they got back together? They spent 6 years apart, you know, 79 to 85. Lets the fucking shit happen, the blood fucking simmer down, you know, and then fucking 80s Ozzy and 80s era Sabbath, like with that power metal aspect.
Oh yeah.
Could you fucking imagine if fucking like Eternal Idol or Seventh Star would have fucking had Ozzy's vocal on them?
That would have been weird. I mean, could you see? But there's just such a clash of juggernauts at that point, too, man. And that's really why that probably didn't pop off. Both those labels were sitting there going, "This is great. If they get back together, we'll both make so much money." You know, and that's the way labels think. I mean, Sharon was sitting back there going, "Oh shit, we gonna make some money, Ozzy." I mean, seriously.
But
I love her. I'm not talking bad about her, but. If they had got that together,
it was something on the line. I think with Sabbath's label at the time, yes, I think they were banking on that. But with Ozzy's side, with Sharon, I think she fucking put the kibosh on that.
Well, I could see that too. But
Ozzy was fucking Ultimate Sin era.
Well, yeah, and he was definitely blowing up pretty big on that.
Yeah, because it was fucking the album right after Bark.
And man, I mean, Ultimate Sin is actually to be like pretty much immersed in what hair metal was, and I love all that shit too because I'm a huge hair metal fan. But that was the most,
which is interesting to me.
Oh, I love hair metal. I mean, like I'm talking like, dude, I could sit here and talk to you about Mr. Big, Winger, all these bands all night long. I love all those dudes. That's some of my favorite shit. But that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Ozzy to me, like the Ultimate Sin album was like the epitome of what Ozzy could do at a hair metal setting. And he did pretty good with it. He was still like evil, in a sense. Like the Ultimate Sin. I mean, those.
The song itself, where he's fucking playing like J.R. Dallas,
yeah,
or
man,
J.R. Ewing, or what the fuck ever.
Shot in the Dark video. When you got the dragon version of him coming out, and he's on the throne. I'm like, man, that's pretty fucking metal, even for like '86 or whenever.
I used to be a big Zakk Wylde mark, right? It was like big Zakk. And like, I think Zack's ultimate contribution to metal, like straight up metal. I mean, yeah, Black Label is Black Label. Fucking P&G, Power and Glory, is that what it was?
Pride and Glory, yeah. They were pretty good, man.
Power and Glory, I think, was the tag team.
Yeah.
Is fucking No Rest for the Wicked.
I think I agree with you on that.
I think that is his strongest riffage that he had ever done. And yeah, he pushed the boundary to a lot of the whole Southern rock into Ozzy.
Yeah.
Like with the No More Tears. But it's still, it's still fucking like spooky metal, spooky Halloween metal.
It's very spooky. No Rest for the Wicked. That was definitely the first thing I heard on what's that one song on there? Breaking All the Rules was the first.
Breaking all the rules.
Yeah. It's a real cool riff. So, of course, naturally I was like, oh, I need to borrow this tape, probably from one of my uncles again or something like that. And it's like, I got to check this out. I like this guitar sound on here. Man, Miracle Man.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, the first time I heard that and then heard that solo, I was like, wow. I was just blown away. Now, I do like No More Tears, and it is probably... It's either that or No Rest. I don't know, man. It's a hard one. I love so much Ozzy albums. It's hard, but man, No More Tears. Half of it was written by Lemmy, who's like a god, and
half of it was written by Lemmy, and even stuff that
isn't Daisley even on some stuff on that too.
Yeah, Bob Daisley was on the album.
And he's fucking badass.
And Mike Inez is the.
That was right before he went to Chains full time. Yeah. I remember.
He was the live bassist.
Yeah, man. He had the hair. I remember you see him in the My Mom Coming Home video, and he does the swirl. I was like, oh, look at that pretty crimped hair. And he was still Ozzy was still kind of coming out of that '90s hair metal thing then, because hair metal was dying back then.
Yeah.
I remember that because I remember Queensryche coming out, and I was like, man, this is the baddest album ever. They won 10 awards, and then no one gave a shit about any of those bands the next year. It's like as soon as Smells Like Teen Spirit come out, fucking over. I heard Captain and Tennille say as soon as Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, it ruined their fucking career. I heard I was like, everybody just blaming it's like Obama's fault, So I was like, you're just blaming it on fucking Kurt, man.
Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely they did.
Yeah, but I love Nirvana.
The interesting thing about that is just how fucking it just changed.
Yeah, it changed. It was crazy. I remember that. So, it was just, we had already been hearing bands like Soundgarden and stuff before then. I want to say, Single Soundtrack pushed a lot of the alternative band out there. There was Soundgarden on that soundtrack. Alice in Chains was about to come out with Dirt and everything. And Nirvana and stuff, they'd been out a little before. But when that song come out, man, it opened the door for all those dudes that screamed, you would hear something on 120 Minutes every now and then, which came on after Headbangers Ball for all you old people, that understand what I'm talking about. But and you'd see a couple Soundgarden songs, some Mudhoney, Smashing Pumpkins songs, something like that. Mm-hmm. Those guys screamed even back then a little bit, screamy a little.
Yeah, but when the door opened, and basically that same time, you mentioned Smashing Pumpkins. That's also when Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness came out.
Yeah, and he's squalling on that one.
Yeah, he's squalling on that fucking Bullet with Butterfly Wings alone.
Yeah, that's a great song. That's a good Smashing Pumpkins album. That was the first rock-based concert I was allowed to go to by myself, was Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream Tour.
Oh, wow.
And it was fucking awesome. It was when Louisville Gardens was really in its prime of shows like that.
Dude.
It was a cool show. Billy Corgan, I remember getting hit in the head with a boot. And he stopped, and he was like, if anybody throws anything else up here, I'm walking off stage. And it was like, boom, hit him again. He's like, all right, here's the next song. I was like, man.
Dude, I think, honestly, and no, that shouldn't happen.
No.
But, I've only ever seen one band, two. I've only ever seen two bands on video ever handle that in the worst possible fucking way. And actually walk off fucking stage.
Oh.
And
that's got to be a tough decision.
And the two bands that did it.
Yeah.
One of them is Gunners, Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I could totally.
And he's like, what did he say? Oh, thanks to your bullshit security, I'm going home. Slams down the fucking mic, right?
Yeah.
Spikes that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
what a little shithead.
He's from Indiana.
He's from Indiana. He's got a little heat in him.
Yeah. But the thing about it is and the other band you would never fucking have dreamed would have ever had this happen is Nickelback.
Oh.
Dude, they were in Brazil or some shit, like Rock in Rio or some fucking shit, right?
Yeah.
And somebody hits him in the head with a rock. And he goes, well, thanks to your dumbass people, I'm going home.
Yeah.
And he fucking left, and I think they fucking rioted that year.
I could see them doing that. I mean, I won't talk bad about Nickelback, but I mean, I could totally see.
I won't talk any good about them.
I won't talk good about them either. I try not to diss too many bands, you know. I can't say shit about anybody because I used to play some different stuff too. But Chad Kroeger is can kind of be a dick. I can see sometimes from live performances and stuff. He gets real pissy. Like, that's one thing I've seen. Prissy.
So does Dave Mustaine.
And I've seen some Dave Mustaine change some stuff. A couple, you know, like, but I don't know. The Dave Mustaine thing with me is like he's had this attitude for so long that it's like you just kind of almost accept it, right? It's like, it's Dave. He's having a shitty night. So, you know. my favorite scene from Headbangers Ball is when
nice. Yeah, he's picked up a copy of Diamond Head's Behold the Beginning.
Yes, great album.
Yeah. So my favorite scene on Headbangers Ball is when they approach Lane Staley on the street.
I remember this.
And they're like, Lane, do you have anything to say for the camera? And he goes, watch him become a guy. And then they cut to fucking the scene of Mustaine doing it, and it's fucking like in perfect fucking harmony.
Oh yeah, and that's funny. And you know, guess who opened for Megadeth that year?
Alice in Chains.
Alice in fucking Chains, man.
Yeah, and it's like that was the Clash of the Titans tour.
Yeah, man.
What was that? Anthrax, Alice in Chains.
Anthrax, Alice in Chains, Testament.
And Megadeth.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Slayer.
Was Slayer on that too?
Yeah, because I think... Because Alice in Chains and Testament were like the opener kind of thing, and then the big three, I guess, at that point, you know, whatever. But
because I think that was also when Metallica was on tour for the fucking... the Black Album.
Yeah.
The 600 fucking date tour.
God, that's like years of that shit. I remember that. Yeah. But I mean, I loved Alice in Chains and never thought they were like an alternative band like they were deemed.
No, dude,
that's
heavy.
A metal band, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, how can you hear them bones and not like fucking? I was like, that's metal.
Down in a hole, dude.
Down in a hole.
That
whole damn album.
Yeah, I look at heavy to be on multiple levels. You've got obviously musically heavy, but like vocally heavy, you know, lyrically heavy. And I know you're not the lyric guy.
Yeah, but I love him, and that's because to me, like, there's very few dudes like him. Now, when I give it due when they come out, you know, but yeah, his lyrics are just they take you there, you know.
And dude, like, Gibson TV is fucking primo.
I've got their app on my phone, man. They're
so
awesome.
You see like the Icons series and shit like that. Dude, the collection stuff is awesome.
Yeah, man.
But the Icons, man, that's where it's at, because you get like this one-sided conversation, obviously, but it's all told in their words of their like career and life. And the first one I watched was Iommi.
With Richie Faulkner.
No, that's a different one.
Is that a different one? See, I've seen those. I haven't seen the one you're talking about, but I've seen the one where Richie Faulkner interviews him.
Yes, and that's fucking amazing.
But yeah, I mean, but anyways, he's saying that.
But like, they've had Iommi, they've had fucking Kirk Hammett, they've had Dave Mustaine, they had Jerry Cantrell. And it's like, I always remember Jerry Cantrell like from the late 90s and, you know, early 2000s when he's like real like thinned out and everything.
Yeah.
And
he's a total dad now.
And he just has this like that 10,000 yard stare in his eyes type shit. And he's not like that at all in this. He's like you said, he's total like he's a hippie. He honestly reminds me of like a lot of the fucking southern musicians like in Florida and shit.
Very lax. And,
like the Margaritaville musician type shit that's like swamp music meets fucking everything.
Maybe he's calmed down. I mean, you know, that lifestyle after a while will wear on you. And, you know,
he kind of reminds me of being laid back like Tom Petty is.
Yeah, Tom Petty, man. Oh, man.
He's the one that got away. I didn't get to see him live.
I never got to see him either. He's amazing. I love Tom Petty. Don't Come Around Here No More is one of my favorite songs, man.
Yeah. I love it. Dude, I love his like solo stuff. Like,
Just the Tom
you're
Petty.
so bad.
Yeah. Full Moon. Uh-oh. Better keep that for later. Full Moon Fever is, like, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. We had the BME thing, I guess.
Yeah.
My dad had it. And
the BMG.
BMG, that's it.
The 6 CDs for a penny, and you could get them, yeah.
That was one of
them.
The
one that all of us went into fucking the system for.
Yeah, that's it. That's how they got us right there. But I got it. I'm pretty sure I got the Black Album. Pretty sure I got some kind of Megadeth album, but I got it in Queensryche, and I used to rock Tom Petty and Empire like constantly. And that's a weird contrast, you know.
I wasn't allowed to have CDs until I was well into my teenage years.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and it was nuts because of having to take care of them.
Yeah,
is what it was. So they wanted to get me the cassette tapes and shit like that.
Yeah,
because,
they weren't cheap back then either. Like,
no, they were like $16.
They made back in like the 90s, $16 was a lot of money. $20 was a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it was just like, I remember the first time I did that, I ordered I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna do this. and I did it, and I got the package in the mail, and like to this day I still have one of those CDs.
Oh man, that's crazy that you could even keep one from that, like back then. God,
and it was the fucking band that fucking really got me on that deal.
Who was it?
Fucking Motorhead.
Motorhead, hell yeah.
And it was the fucking We Are Motorhead album.
Nice.
So it's got God Save the Queen, Wake the Dead, fucking See Me Burning.
God, I love me some Lemmy.
Fucking, oh yeah, dude. And that era is like, it's off of the weird like 90s kick. The 90s were different for them because they had 4 people through most of it. But that was the first album that the second best lineup of Motorhead.
Yeah.
With Mickey D and Phil Campbell. That was their second album together. And as that fucking new Holy Trinity.
Yeah. They did the Bastards line. Is that same album they all do that one, Bastards?
Bastards.
Is it Bastards? It's got Burner on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did that because Mickey D's first album with them, I think that is Bastards.
Is it Bastards? That's my man. The newer albums?
March or Die.
March or Die.
Yeah, because it's the one that has I Ain't No Nice Guy. It's got and there's Ozzy, yeah. It's got I Ain't No Nice Guy. It's got fucking Cat Scratch Fever, I believe.
Cat Scratch Fever.
Stand is on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Mickey D's first album with him.
Man, he's rocking out.
And he was,
and
you know who he came from.
Wasn't it Brittany Fox or Girl School or Brittany Fox? What was
Mickey D?
Yeah, Mickey D.
Yeah, who he came from?
Yeah, which band?
King Diamond.
Was it King Diamond?
Yeah,
I thought he was in some kind of girl band at one point, or like not girl band, but like a kind of glam sort of band at one time.
No, I don't know. Was he in Girl School?
I don't know. I wanted to say that I can't remember, but I wanted to say I thought that he was because
I thought Girl School was all girls.
I thought that too. Or Brittany Fox, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Brittany Fox is? Sounds like a girl's name, but it's a band. But I just remember reading that they gave him a lot of shit, man, when he first played their big festival with them. All the guys were like, "Oh, you got this guy," blah blah blah, and they said he got out there and fucking killed it. Right. And just walked back there like, yeah, fuck you. And I was like, hell yeah, because he's a badass drummer, man. The Bastards album is like
Sacrifice.
Shit. Oh yeah, man.
Dude, Sacrifice I know is the only song that he plays to a click track on.
What'd you think about that last Motorhead album?
I love it.
I like it a lot. I mean, it's pretty good, but I mean, it's not like in my favorites, but
Motorhead in the 2000s for me is a very every other album band.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
We Are Motorhead was a great album. Hammered, to me, had a couple of good songs, but on a whole, it wasn't a straight listen. Yeah. I'm still that way about it.
Yeah.
The next album that came out, Inferno, fucking straight all the way fucking through.
Yeah,
can listen to everything.
Album,
fucking the next album was Kiss of Death. Fucking about, I can get through half of it.
Yeah, it's a hit or miss too. I mean,
God
really,
Was Never on Your Side and Trigger are like the two best songs on that album.
It's still the old shits,
Oh yeah, I can jam
stuff. I mean, you guys
the first 6 albums or whatever, the first 5 albums, fucking Motorhead all the way through fucking Iron Fist.
Oh yeah,
yeah, fucking I can listen to those all day long.
I can still hear Ace of Spades and it gets me pumped up a little bit. You know,
dude,
what I'm saying? I'm just like,
I have.
And it's in every movie, you know? Like,
yeah,
anymore, you know?
Yeah. I have an awesome story about Ace of Spades.
All right.
I found a new old stock version of Ace of Spades. And
talking about vinyl? Like
yes.
That? Oh, man.
And I have it. And I left it unopened for a long time, right? And what was crazy about it is the record store, Ear Ecstasy, when they moved from where the Panera is now, where they used to be on Bardstown Road, and they moved to where the Kinko's is.
Yeah.
When they were in there, they fucking they found a couple of boxes of Ace of fucking Spades.
Man.
And I
Treasure.
Yeah. And dude, I bought it. Because I fucking knew the story about it, right? And I bought it. And fucking, I don't know where the fucking press plant came from for these albums. But it's labeled wrong.
Really? That's gotta be, like, worth something.
I mean,
the misprint shit?
Yeah. You would think so, but, like,
probably.
You find out that, like, back in the day, there was so many of that shit. Like the coveted green Ride the Lightning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really, to me, like, that shit is one thing about it. I'm recently, of course, like I told you earlier, getting rid of my record collection, but I would go to record shows to get metal records, and they try to give me the whole sale. You know, I'm like, oh, man, this is blah, blah. I'm like, I know exactly what it is. I'm like, I'm a listener, not a collector.
Right.
You know, when I get one, there's no way. Like, I got King Horse's record. I got it, you know, same as you were saying about the Motorhead, new old stock.
Yeah.
Had never been opened. Got a hold of it, didn't listen to it for a year, and then opened it up and listened to it and loved it. I mean, it was just great. But I was like, that's the one time I learned my lesson.
I've often, and I've never heard the vinyl version of that. I never have.
Yeah.
I've got it on CD. And, you know, that album was produced by Danzig.
Yeah, that's what they say. But, I mean...
But I hear that the vinyl version is really fucking good, but the CD is fucking, like, trash.
Yeah, you know, I think I've heard that, too, actually. I want to say Brent Webb was telling me about that. Dirt Merchant was telling me about that.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, I still call him that. But he was telling me something along that lines. Because I'm trying to sell him my King Horse record. But
you could buy it for like $100 on eBay.
I know. I figured I'd just sell it to him for $50, be done with it or something. I'm just trying to. I want to give them good homes. It's like I'm getting rid of kittens, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't really, I ain't.
You don't want to get rid of.
I don't want to, man.
Dude, but that fucking artwork is legendary.
Oh yeah, man.
The fucking Pusshead artwork, dude. Which is fucking synonymous with fucking metal because he did a fucking bunch of shit for Metallica, including their fucking biggest charting album to date, Saint Anger. He did that artwork. Fucking.
I used to have one of those skateboards back in the day.
Oh yeah, with the pirate.
Yeah.
Where it's like the Jolly Roger one. Yeah, that's totally.
Zorlak boards. I can't remember the name of the company. Something like that. It was fucking cool board.
That's awesome.
Back when they had pads and stuff on the back of the kicktail.
Oh yeah.
Stuff that they totally clown shoe you for now.
Where the fucking like the fucking the back tail is like a wedge shape,
like a skid plate or whatever they called it.
Yep.
Yeah, I can remember. But yeah, that was cool. That's how you skateboarded back then. You just totally destroyed the end of your tail.
Oh yeah, grind it down.
Yeah, grind it down, man. Oh man. Yeah, I think I about broke my wrist on that board. I gave up skateboarding when I was about 18 when I joined Callus because I was playing faster wrists and everything, and I fell one day and hit my wrist, and it was 2 or 3 days of practice and me just having to fight through the pain of it. And I just remember I can't be playing around on a skateboard no more and getting hurt,
Yeah, I've got tendonitis.
Yeah.
In my fucking wrist, and and it is my picking wrist. And every so often, I will turn my fucking wrist just enough while I'm playing, and it almost fucking puts you down, dude. Fucking, it almost fucking
Yeah.
Take you to a knee.
I've still got a kink somewhere in there. I mean, a lot of it's overplaying. As a bass player, I mean, I could only imagine. You know, I've played a little bit of bass in my life and everything, but a full-time bass player, I'm like, man, you could just...
Dude.
The abuse on your hands.
Don't even go there, because you looked at the Rick earlier when you...
That neck is big.
But you sit there and you're like... You're doing the fucking Tom Sawyer fucking thing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to play that thing all the way through, man. That's a beast bass. It's definitely like one of my favorite basses, though. I kind of feel bad because, you know, when we were talking to Dave, like, Dave, you need to get that Rick you've been talking about,
right?
Because he's all like, you know, I've been thinking about getting a 5-string Rick, man. You know, I guess right when they put them out, maybe was it a couple years ago or something like that? They got the weird pickups in it. They're real neat. It sounds really good. But we talked him into it. But then, once I seen that neck, I was like, oh man, we just hurt that poor boy. I mean, because it's a big neck.
Yeah.
But I mean, man, it sounds so good.
I wonder if that thing has, because it's such a big neck, because, you know, Ricks have a dual truss.
Yeah. I'm sure I
think they got 3.
Maybe. I mean, I think that neck, I'm sure for being a 5-string, they've chilled on it a little bit, but man, it's a beast of a bass too. It's just, there's something about Ricks that have this cool tone once you figure them out too. But I mean, it's just blasting, and they look cool as shit.
I love the fucking body design.
I think
that's actually going to be the next fucking. We're going to tuck a fucking Rick silhouette right here on my fucking arm.
Oh yeah, that'll be killer. I mean,
and just because of the fucking, I love the 4001, 3, 4, fucking, you know, whatever design version of it.
They do have a lot of numbers in their designs, and then their models.
Well, yeah, it's like, the 4001 history lesson here. The 4001 was the mule, you know, the workhorse of the fucking deal. They discontinued the fucking that in like 74, 76, and made the 4003 the new workhorse. It's a little bit different, but mostly the same. Okay. You know, it featured certain ones featured binding, certain ones didn't, etc. And then by like 1981, the last of the 4001s were done.
Yeah. And
then they've kept the 4003 straight the fuck on. And now they've had other renditions, like I think it's the 4005 LK is the Lemmy signature series, but it is the way it's designed because of the oak inlay and all that shit.
Oh, they go that far on it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, they only made 60 of them, and he had 2.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a thing that guy's doing the leather work on it and stuff, or one of them at least. I seen that, and they were actually talking about the binding around it and everything. And I was like, man, that's very involved in that bass.
Oh yeah,
you know? That's a sweet bass. That's just an iconic bass, man.
I know, brand new. It was a $5,000 bass.
Oh, yeah.
Back in 1997 or whatever when they did it.
Yeah, they've never been cheap basses.
And the interesting thing is there is a guitar version also that was a signature for somebody else, right? And both of them came with a pack in the flight case, because it was an actual flight case, not like the regular form-fitted Rick case, where in the foam there was a cutout for 2 packs of cigarettes to stand up and a bottle of Jack Daniels.
That's awesome.
In the flight case.
I've seen that picture of the case. Saul sent me a picture of that.
Yeah.
And with a bass in it, the smokes, and the Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just genius.
Yeah, it is, because fuck, man.
That really is.
Lemmy's Jack, man.
Yeah, man, you got to have it ready. Yeah, I mean, that guy had to have the Jack.
Right, and that was story. I wish they would have. White Line Fever came out, and I wish there would have been a second one.
I'm sure there's enough for a second.
Oh, I'm sure.
God,
But I love that book because it was like he was sitting there reading it to you.
Yeah,
I read it in his voice.
Yeah, you'd hear all that stuff in it.
Okay, like this.
But just a rock legend. Really, really, really cool dude, man. I mean,
I never got to meet him.
I've seen, when I lived in Los Angeles, he lived not far from me.
Okay.
And of course, everybody goes to the Rainbow and eats. You know,
Yeah,
like when you're there, you just do, even during the day, because, you know, it's the rainbow. It's cool.
Yeah.
And their food actually back then wasn't really crazy. I think you could get like chicken fingers and stuff for under $10.
Right.
Which in California, if you can get a basket of fries and chicken tenders for that, you know.
You're eating high on the hog and for cheap.
Yeah, and for pretty cheap, you know. But he used to hang out there, just like they said. Like, he'd be playing those games and stuff like that. I mean, I'd been like within proximity of this guy, and, you know, heard conversations, you know, like that, shit like that. But it seemed like always a really genuine person. And I've watched a lot of documentaries and stuff like that, and, you know, just like, it seems like, wow, man, a guy that lived so fast and never stopped. I mean, you got to respect it in a sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I think when I get to that age, you know, I mean, I like to party and have fun just like anybody, but even at that rate, shit, when you hit 50, you got to start thinking about that. And that guy was just like, no, he was like full on metal, rock and roll all the time, man.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. You know, I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason I play 4003 bass.
Yeah,
and there's a reason. Man. You know, I have. Look at this. This fucking giant fucking 215, 810 fucking cabs that, you know, running off a fucking 2,000 fucking watt power amp.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you do, I mean, that.
Dude, we could give it a go right now.
Nah, we better not do that.
This fucking. My neighbor ain't gonna fucking care. She can't hear that shit.
Oh, if we get started, I'll be here all night playing this damn thing.
Well, yeah, that's fucking
dude, that's
point.
big.
Dude,
I mean,
I
didn't know that you actually had the dual. Like, it had been, because I seen you last time playing. You were playing the whole jacked in thing, you know.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I was just like, you all got me started on that. Like, well, I'd already been entertaining it.
Right.
And then it's like, as soon as I was like, well, looks like they got some options that I'd be interested in, and started looking into some artists that did it.
Dude,
and I was like, when I just jumped in and did it, and
Mega Dave does it.
I think it's awesome. I mean,
the only thing that I hated about when I saw Megadeth playing that way is they had, you know, they almost have like the Nico setup where the drummer sits 6 feet above everybody.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's how Nico is in Maiden and shit. He sits up higher than everybody else. And so they got LED boards, like, you know, like 12 feet long. Maybe not 12 feet, but, you know, something like that. And they're like 7 feet tall LED boards on both sides of the fucking drum set for like the digital backdrops.
Yeah.
I swear to God, they fucking put fucking shitty artwork versions, like cartoon artwork versions of fucking Marshall cabinets on there, like Kiss would have done.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that sounds so
like the
totally
big fucking
Kiss,
like you know how Kiss has the big fucking wall of monitors, right?
Yeah.
Wall of speakers, fucking just like that. But they were like, they looked like they were drawn into like fucking Pokemon anime.
Oh, dude, what
right?
the fuck?
And fucking. And instead of the Marshall logo, it was Megadeth written in the Marshall cursive.
Oh man, that's going balls out for some animation there, man.
Right?
Jesus.
And it's like, we're talking like this is one of the biggest thrash bands in the fucking world.
Well, I mean, you got to keep up with that shit, I guess. I I like all the stuff that goes on, like we were talking earlier, all the digital screen stuff or all the screen stuff.
Right.
All of our stuff is totally like, I think for the most part, like from analog projector type.
Yeah, it is. And then the only digital thing about it now is it's all filmed on digital.
Yeah, that's
and it's and fucking, you know, you're got it on a digital format.
Yeah.
You're not screening it from a fucking VHS, which dude, you should do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the raspiness of the visuals and stuff.
Yeah,
I tell you what, I did.
You would love that. You're fucking all artsy fartsy like that shit,
dude. I saw Godspeed You Black Emperor play once, and they had a real projectionist there, and you could hear him like changing reels. He had 2 projectors there, right? And he was working them at an angle where he could use them, and like when he was cutting one over, one would be playing, and he'd be getting the next reel. This dude was working just as much as the band.
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. Like, and the visuals were really cool. You know, he'd be sitting there and like something doing this, and you'd see him pick up a mason jar full of like blue dyed water and hold it in front of the the light in front of it to give it that murky look and shake it, and you'd see bubble things come out. I was like, he's just as much work as the band, you know?
Yeah, he's you know, and that's one of the things I've always talked about with bands. And, you know, to everybody out here, you know, this is crazy because this is more of like a conversation of catch up. Because Nate and I haven't seen each other in fucking
a while.
Probably at least a year and a half. At least. Well, honestly, no. It's probably before COVID even. Because I was going to come to the release show and for the album, and
it never happened.
And it never happened. You all did a live stream.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was there, and I watched the live stream, and it was fucking badass. And I'm fucking in my studio, like here, like watching it,
Man,
and the blue lights on.
Yeah, that was fun, dude. That was we did a Dead Bird.
Yeah.
Man, that was really, really, really fun.
It's a couple of different angles.
Yeah.
Dude, and I mean, that was fucking perfect. And for a band like you guys, I think that's great because you all are, I think, you're an immersive band.
Thank you.
Like, Ohlm can be experienced in any way you want to experience it.
I think anybody could probably listen, come to a show and at least like a few things we do.
Dude, I get a natural high at your shows.
Oh, man.
And it's not because, I
appreciate that.
Like, it does the same thing to me, like when I smoke, and shit. Like, it is just like that feeling, and you just get lost in it, and you're just like, it's like, holy fuck. Seeing you guys at like the metal fests and shit, and when it's 1,000 degrees, it makes it. God, you're already like
it's like sweat lot or the
sweat lot. That's
so whatever that is. Because I'm already high as hell walking onto the stage from just the heat.
Yeah.
Like, and then holding it together during some of those fest things is kind of it's you're walking
especially
back.
when you've been there all day.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, you've been there all day. You've been walking back and forth to watch bands, or walk back to your camp and everything. Man, if you play last, like right by the time you're like, man, my legs are almost sore. I think the last one I played, I remember I missed a couple pedals mainly because I was like, man, my legs are tired.
That was in 2019.
Dude,
that was like, holy fuck. We played in. Hey, we actually did play in 2020. There was one in 2020 that happened, and we played it, and it was so fucking hot. Like
we played that one.
I don't think you all did. But I know we played like next. I think we were like 3 bands from last that Friday night.
Oh, okay.
And like, I remember like coming off stage and feeling like I was dead because it was so hot, and it was just like, you've seen me live. I'm like all over the fucking place.
Throwing down, man.
Yeah, and fucking, I literally get the fucking workout in.
Yeah.
And just like, holy fuck.
And coming that year, I remember that because it's just like, it's got a swampy feel sometimes.
Yeah, especially like when it had just rained like the day before.
Yeah.
And fucking, they had all those wood chips and shit out in the mud, and it was just like all like spongy and shit.
Yeah, I'm from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got married at that exact place.
Oh my god.
Yeah, me and my wife got married. We did it all up. Went there for a couple days. Yeah. And
you're talking about Jen.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we got married.
Which
there.
This is okay. So let's inadvertently introduce that part as well, because not only is he in Ohlm, he is also in. What is her?
Her name's Jen Marie. She has her own thing. We have been back and forth with a name here recently about. We were called Blackwater Station.
Yes.
And
which is a good name.
It's a great name. Once we had some few little bumps with it as like finding people that had been online already using that name.
Oh.
And I had no clue. I'd never heard of anybody.
Yeah, you're not really the big online guy.
Yeah, I'm not a huge online guy, but Spotify helps. You get on there and you search. If you see it on Spotify, you might as well not even use it, you think.
Right.
So we've been doing that. We've been toying with a couple of cool new names. She's got an album about to come out. So, I mean,
But it'll
be under Jen Marie music.
Right, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's different.
It's not metal.
Yeah, it's not. It's more towards a...
singer-songwriter?
There's some singer-songwriter stuff. She comes from a singer-songwriter background.
Possible country?
There's some of that and some of it too, but I mean, really, some of it's some dark blues.
Okay.
Like it's got a bluesy side to it, but it's got a dark, like, everything I do has got a proggy element to it.
Yeah.
So there's a little prog in there too. Of course, I'm using like Line 6 effect systems with all the shimmer keyboard effects and everything and all this going on.
The phaser.
Yeah, everything. Phaser, flangers, all the jurs. I mean, yeah, I've always loved effects pedals. I can't get away. I'm a junkie when it comes to effects, but there's a lot of that going on. But we base we base it around her vocals more instead of like looking at it from a musician's aspect of like the song, the music's got to dominate. You know, like she does the main writing.
Okay.
So it's completely different. It's a very weird thing. Plus, you know, she's my wife. I'm in the band with her. It's definitely an odd turn because in Ohlm, you know, I do a lot of the writing.
Right.
And in this, you know, it's her thing. She does most of the writing. It's really cool to sit back, you know, and
to just be the guitar player.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's carefree in a lot of sense. I mean, there is a lot to, you know, where you're on the spot.
Right.
About things, you know, because, you know, well, you're the guitar player, you know. But it's like, it's a lot different than Ohlm. Dave was saying, actually, we played a gig where we opened, Jen's band opened. We were like,
which is funny because of that show on the 25th. You're like, Jen's band could do it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, we could do that.
I was like,
yeah.
Dude, you're playing like, you know, dark blues, tinged country.
The thing is we've really started to go towards the dark blues thing more than anything. We've been writing new stuff. There's still some stuff.
Dude, that would be a good name. It's the dark blues.
Yeah. Man, she's got this name called I don't want to say it because I don't know where to take it, but it's really, really cool. And it sounds like something that would be off of like, it'd be a planet on a Star Trek show.
No,
and I mean,
shit.
Yeah, and it's really, really cool. It's something like that. But it's like, well, like I said, we had the struggle with the name, and it was like really like odd. I got put back by. I was like, I've never really like got this stuck up on a name before.
Right.
You know, I've been in like, you know, Antikythera. That was like,
that day though,
yeah.
When that band came out, that was some wild shit.
Yeah, that was some wild shit. That was a really wild part of my musical days. Like,
yeah. I mean, you're coming off of fucking Callous at that point.
Yeah. I had left Callous before then. I'd started with Callous and then left and, you know, went through my new metal phases and everything and all that, and then come back up to Louisville and played. They needed a guitar player. Long story short, you know, I was there at the time. Come in, I could learn the stuff pretty fast. But then, like, once I really got into it, I mean, the shit was hard, dude. I mean, like, there was like, going home and doing homework on riffs and stuff. Like me and Josh, and Timmy, all of us talk now. Like, if you try to ask Chris Miller, the singer, to like do a show, he'd be like, "Fuck no." First thing he'll tell you, he's like, he'd love to get together and just jam and, you know, just sing and play some songs probably, you know, get in the warehouse and just jam. But man, he's like doing the strenuous stuff, like getting on stage and playing that shit. It's a stamina contest.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, it's an endurance thing, and you're just, riff, scale, riff, you know, all the weird time. I mean, it was challenging. I think now that album,
which is wild as fuck,
could hold up. I think it could hold up still to this day.
Here's the thing. This is wild as fuck because, like, you know, obviously fucking Tony Iommi's a lefty.
Yeah.
But then you're talking about, you know, everything that you had just said with the riff, scale, riff, you know, and Saul being a lefty.
Yeah, like him, like...
And he just has this real... To me, it looks like this alien language of playing a fucking guitar.
It's odd. Saul's got Artwork's a cool band.
Yeah.
I've been playing with those cats. I've known Sean, their singer. He was like in the first death metal band I was ever in when we were in like 14 years old, you know. Like
El Rocho is such a fucking great dude.
Like, dude, he's a great guy. I've known him forever. But like Saul...
One second. So, if you want to know who we're talking about, Saul and Rocho, go back to the radio days and look up the Artwork for the Blind episode. They both come in. They don't play live. We play music on the track of them. But Saul and Rocho from Artwork for the Blind have, you know, Metal Forge alumni. They've been here.
Yeah.
They made it to the studio.
Yeah. They my thing is get...
Saul works for the man.
Oh yeah.
And he could get time off the track.
You're gonna bust me on this.
No, I'm fucking with you, dude.
Well, see, my
he's like, really, Mark? I didn't want to fucking come in. Fuck you. I hate being in fucking public.
I've been anxious about it. Basically, I mean, all my guys would even be here. My thing is,
their schedules are so fucking weird.
It's like you got Joe Grudge, you know, like one thing. So Josh is like 3 times a week doing music. So sometimes, you know, get together on the weekends, you know, do something like this. You know, he'd probably rather just stay at home. You know?
Right.
He's hilarious at interviews, though. Like, man, 2 or 3 interviews we've done together, it's great. There's a really, really cool Dirt Merchant interview with him where they are trying to talk to him about his style of drums, which is like, very reminiscent of Igor Cavalera, and I think that's what the guy says, and he just starts talking about hair care maintenance, and it was like I think every question, like
Josh is doing that, or
yeah,
Dave?
Josh is doing that.
Dave?
No, Dave is Dave is sitting there. I think it might have been the first interview we did when we were as a band with Dave.
Okay,
and I want to say even Dave was like, we were over at NABC actually. And I want to say Dave was just like, what the fuck, almost. Even he was looking, even I was laughing, it's Josh. Me and Josh had already been there and caught a couple pre-beers on before the interview even started. But yeah, he did not let up. It was just like, the guy's like, so your drum style, blah, 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 Yeah, one time I was in New York City and I saw this kid playing on a bucket. And it inspired me. So, and then it goes into hair care maintenance or some shit like that. It's hilarious. I mean, what I'm getting at is I don't think they like doing interviews anyways.
That's beautiful,
Yeah, you know what
Which
I'm
is
saying?
funny because Dave has his own podcast.
Well, Dave would come in here, but Dave actually is the guy. Dave got a new dog.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's got it's pretty high maintenance, like at the moment, it's new dog to the house, a pretty young dog, I'm pretty sure too, and he has to spend a lot of time with the doggy. But we've been writing Ohlm has been writing like crazy. And I'm pretty sure, hopefully before winter or by winter, we'll get to go in the studio and start putting down some tracks for something. It's just getting everybody to, get all that time together after we've written and making the time and getting in the studio and getting it done.
Definitely. And, that's what it's all about, dude, is I've always said that content is king, and I think it's fucking awesome to sit there and just... do the thing.
Yeah, we'll sit there and play. We jam. That's the thing. It's like we play and jam on it for a year or so before we'll go in the studio.
Right.
I want to say when they did the last album, Kolat Sakyal, that the
available online at Bandcamp.
Yeah, 2 years. We had played those songs. We went in there and there was maybe one song we were still unsure about, and we hashed it out as soon as we got in the studio.
Right.
But I mean, it was very quick. And I kind of prefer that because it's not cheap to go to a good studio,
No,
time is money,
Yeah. And you don't want to be like what everybody talks about, you're writing in the studio.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to go in and get it done,
Yeah.
I've done all the writing at the warehouse.
Right. I've been there.
Yeah.
I used to be there too.
Yeah, that place is awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of good songs written there.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other side did that weird thing,
They had a computer recycling plant,
yeah,
which was really odd, and it was a cool setting for a little while,
But the weird lady that not the one that's there now, if she's still there.
There's nobody. I know everybody's in there, and there's maybe 3 or 4 people there now.
Oh no, what's the owner's name is Mickey.
Oh yeah, good old Mickey.
Mickey's sister. Teresa.
Oh yeah, man. I remember her.
Hey, honey, you got the rent. She sounds like fucking. She sounds like fucking.
What's the thing?
Batman.
What's the thing in Total Recall in his stomach, sort of?
Oh, Kuato.
Kuato
lives.
Do you have the rent?
Dude, I told fucking Todd. God love Todd. I told Todd that the next name of the next Overload album is going to be called Kuato Lives.
Dude, you've got to do it now.
I know, right?
Man, have you seen the deep fakes that have been going on with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
Oh, they've got an Elf recall where they do it. Oh, man. I mean, I lost my shit and had to watch the one with Austin Powers 10 times over.
Dude, my favorite one is where they put his face over fucking Kate Winslet in fucking Titanic.
I want you to draw me, Jack.
Like one of your French girls.
Wearing this. Only this.
Yeah.
It is so good, man. I lost it. Yeah, dude showed it to me at work, man, and I'm sitting there. And I think I was like, Todd, have you seen this shit, man? I was on it for a couple of days.
And God love Todd. He probably has not seen it, and the only reason why is because he's not a Facebooker, and
he's still got a flip phone, man.
Yes,
which is awesome. I'm
Do you know
that's
the reason
dedication,
why?
Bro. Why? Are we going to talk shit about Todd right now?
No, no. We're not going to. I bet he thought we were going to say something about him.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Right.
Keep him in suspense.
Right. He's not listening to this on a flip phone.
Yeah, he's definitely not listening to it. Hey, Todd, shut up and make me a sandwich.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Go give me some pickles.
The funniest joke in the world is what he had told me that he told your dad.
Oh yeah, man.
About the closest he ever came to fucking a pig was jerking off with bacon grease.
Oh man, that's pretty. The weird thing is, I'm so grossed out by food and like touching anything like that. I mean, like. That's so gross.
Really?
To me. Yeah, man. It's so weird to me. Like, when people are like,
people
are like,
you
oh, a little
the
whipped
weirdest
cream,
shit in your
whipped cream.
videos.
I know, man, but I am not into like that. I was like, food shit makes me get real weird. Like, if
you
you poured
had
mustard on my arm, I would. You all had
puke. like the wolf thing, right?
Oh yeah, that was decomposing in time lapse, being eaten by maggots.
Yeah,
yeah, man. I mean, like that dude did that stuff, and it looked cool. You got to understand, like half this shit, I'll be completely honest
was like
with
real
you.
shit. It wasn't digital.
Yeah, like he just did it, and I'm turned around on stage, and I'm looking forward at people. So there's a bunch of stuff sometimes at first that I didn't see. I was like, yeah, here's the new video, throw it on, bam, I'm playing, right? So I just see it, and I'm seeing people's face, and then I'm like, fuck is going on behind me? Dave turned around one day and he's like, dude, I just turned around. He's like, there was a tit right there. He was like, it wasn't like porno or nothing. He's like, but there was just a tit.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you talking about like Fight Club shit, like where you just clip a penis right there in for a second? He's like, no, it was on there for
a good minute.
You could tell it was a tit. And I was like, oh, we're gonna have to start screening this shit, I don't know what's gonna be on here, But
I think the thing that really turned me on to you guys was, like I said, being an immersive band where you can get into it on another level. Like, you feel the moment, the mood. It's all individual, of course, because we're all people. But like, it allows you to like cut free, I guess.
Yeah, it's very. The idea that I had on it was
and time goes by like so crazy.
Yeah,
because I remember fucking like. You told me one time going into a show, you're like, yeah, we're only doing 4 songs and we're playing 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, sign me the fuck up.
That's how it's like that, yeah,
Yeah, and it's just awesome. That you played 4 fucking songs and played 45 fucking minutes. I did that one time.
It's not easy, man.
No, it's not. And only the strong survive.
Yeah.
That album is like 40 minutes. And it's 4 fucking songs.
Yeah.
They all flow fucking together. There's multiple parts and shit. I channeled my inner Nate.
Get your prog,
get your prog on.
Get your prog concept album on. I love that shit, man.
Yeah, for sure. So, one of the other things I want to ask you about is like, you've also been around. You've played with some interesting bands in your day. Mm-hmm. I still have never seen the picture of pulling the mask up and puking off the side of the stage.
Oh man,
when you were filling in for a guitar player.
That was Oh man,
can we mention them? We can mention them. I mean, you're not bound by any kind of like NDA or anything, are you?
Well, all right, I'll talk about that. That comes up. I won't get into that side because basically that's a completely other thing in this. But I did
because I know, Red Hat Dude is a dick.
No, I'll go into this like that. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever had anything to do with musically, but he's very, very serious and very stern. And yeah, that was I was sick as fuck. That was really
wasn't nerves, was it?
Yeah. Probably had a lot to do with nerves,
those 3,000 seat venues that they were.
Crazy! There's crazy shit, dude. When the pressure of being around a band like that is enough as it is, man. I mean, and then you put yourself in a situation where you're exposed to anything like that magnitude. Before I even got involved with them, I was throwing up before I even was in LA near them in a studio. Okay. It was just nerves. Like, I was a young kid. And, and nerves had a lot to do with probably a lot of my...
That's been about, what, 20 years ago?
20 years. That's funny that you mentioned that because this keeps coming up here, like, on the internet, like, on guys that I've been watching because I love YouTube, right?
Right.
And I'm really...
Which is funny because you don't...
I don't do social media.
You don't do none of the social media, and when you did, you know...
I used to, but it never was my thing even really much back then. No. It became a thing where I had to keep up with. But I love YouTube and all these guys that review gear, much like kids do toys, stuff like that. I compared it to the same thing because I saw my little nephew like watching one of the toy things where the kids get to open it up.
Dude, I watch toy review shit.
Well, see, you know what I'm saying? Well, the guys are doing it with gear too, so you've seen that.
Oh yeah. I've got the weirdest fucking YouTube.
I'm
views.
sure mine's probably odd too. Yeah,
mine's settled between cheesy '80s fucking trash music, like "Got My Mind Set on You" and shit like that. Thrash.
Yeah.
Blacksmithing and like tool work shit.
Yeah.
Like restoration type shit. Fucking music videos, music gear, and fucking toys.
Oh yeah, I mean.
And food. And I'm a fat fuck. Like most people.
I got some food guys on mine too, man.
Randy Santel.
Yeah,
Atlas Entertainment.
Cowboy Kent Raw.
Cowboy Kent Rollins.
Yeah, man, he's awesome.
He's
I love
like,
watching this
and
stuff.
then you're gonna take this hashing knife and chop it up kind of finely like this.
Yeah, I'm like frontier shit.
No,
man.
Duke. Yeah. No, get the Duker away from the table.
I didn't see it on his show, but I did see Riffs, Gear, and Beards is a thing on YouTube. It's really cool. I want to say it's the guy from Dragged Under. And I started watching him because of the Helix systems that I got into. And it linked me to a couple channels, or a couple YouTube channels or whatever. And he come up and had a thing that had something on West Borland. And then they started talking about the myth of all of that whole ordeal.
Yeah. Because he was probably like one of the first real fucking like digital board users.
Yeah, he was. He pioneered all that stuff as far as I'm concerned. Is like for metal dudes and showing that you can do it and make it work. Him and Devin Townsend kind of made me really flow. At least
just as well as Zappa did it in the 70s with the real fucking stomp box shit. Yeah.
But he got to touching on that, and like he had a guy on there that talked about going to do the auditions, you know, and started talking about to put your guitar where your mouth is shit. And I was like, he just sounded real butthurt, real honestly, and started talking about the whole ordeal and how horrible it was. And I went through exactly the same thing that guy did. And then a month later, they flew me to Los Angeles, and I played music with them. I worked my ass off when I went and did my initial audition. I played interesting stuff, you know, improvised well with them, got to jam with the band, and then I thought it was going to be bullshit too, just like everybody else said. But then a month later, you know, they called me and had me down there. But this guy gets on Riff, Gear, and Beards, and he's talking all this shit about it. And I'm like, dude, you know, like I went there, you know, I played with them, you know, I was in a studio setting with them. They were really nice guys. They were really professional. There were a couple other dudes some badass guitar players. I mean, before I went down there, Paige Hamilton had been in there.
No shit.
Yeah, Buckethead had been in there. Jay Younger had been in there. I mean, like they had auditioned some heavy dudes. You know, they were really trying out some good dudes. The guy they landed on, great man. Mikey is an amazing. I don't know if you ever liked Snot, but I loved Snot as soon as they first come out.
You know, I am not like up to. I can't lie about it, you know, because I've never really. I've only heard a couple of songs. Yeah. I've never been an active Snot listener. They're one of the bands on the list, you know. Yeah. I need to check out.
Check out. They didn't have many albums because their singer died, of course, you know, shortly after they kind of come up, but. Man, back in the 90s, they were opening for a lot of bands like Soulfly and shit, you know, and we're all Sepultura fans, so we got to see a good dose of Snot got into them. Mm-hmm. They're really
Weren't they on an Ozfest?
Yeah, oh yeah. And they're really, really like just driving, punkish almost vibe, but metal, you know, like sort of like System had that. And those were the heavy bands back then. They had that whole punk vibe almost.
Dude, talk about a band.
System.
You know, things like System is that deal where like I was first introduced to them on an Ozfest video.
Yeah.
And that was well before fucking like, you know, fucking Toxicity and all of that fucking.
All the hits.
Yeah, all the hits that they had. Yeah.
Yeah, the first album, I guess. Is just
like. Fucking Surge he had like a big fro. He had no fucking facial hair at the time.
Yeah, I think the guitar players played like Strats and stuff. It was like a completely different thing. Yeah, we seen them on Ozfest. That's when I first ever heard.
Yeah, that was like 96 or 97 or some shit.
It was like them, Tool, Seven Dust.
Yeah.
I mean, like there was like Seven Dust was really good back then. I don't know if you had ever gotten into them, but man, they had a really cool thing going on. When all those
I saw Seven Dust at Jillian's with Filter.
Dude, I like Filter.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the industrial kind of shit.
Yeah, Richard Patrick's got it fucking going on.
Yeah.
Dude, and then I saw the weirdest...
the horror stories people say about him. Is that what you was about to say? The Guns for Hire. Have you seen that?
No, I was going to say, and then I saw them again at fucking Freedom Hall on the weirdest fucking tour ever.
What was this?
It was the Jim Beam Rock the Rack House tour.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it was fucked up. And the fucking people who were on this tour was fucking Filter, Hank Third.
Oh, I like Hank Third.
Yeah, Shelley's good. Montgomery Gentry.
What the fuck?
And Nickelback. And it was
Please tell me that's the show that he walked off and you got to see that, right?
No, I didn't get to see that.
Fuck, that would have been great.
No, that was actually in fucking Brazil or some shit.
Oh, man.
But no.
Hey, they're metalheads in Brazil. They probably weren't about that shit.
No.
I mean,
but that was like Silver Side Up was just about, it had just came out. Like How You Remind Me was like really big at the time.
That's not a bad one, I guess. I
mean, that's like the breakthrough album for them, I think.
Yeah, they had this song called Leader of Men back in the day or something like that. And I remember hearing that was on the radio like back in 96 or 7.
Yeah.
Like and I remember hearing that. Them and Oleander and all them bands had kind of been big, but it's like it's
Fastball.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, there was guys. Mad Season. I liked Mad Season pretty good.
The Refreshments.
That song they sing about like the Banditos song, is the shit. That whole
I love
thing,
that song too.
Give your ID card to the border guard, and it says something about being Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah,
I'm just
they're the same band that does
the King
of
the
Hill theme.
I didn't know that until I got. Well, we've been watching that new like Star Trek shit. I don't know. I'm not really a sci-fi nerd, but I love Patrick Stewart's voice. It's like Morgan Freeman or something to me, man. I just like it's soothing, And
if you weren't such a fucking like crazy motherfucker, you could probably do the fucking radio thing.
I probably
You've
could.
got the voice for it, man.
But man, I'd be way
on the twos
instead of subtle. I'd be way too,
Yeah, you would be like whiskey.
I'd be like Louis.
You'd be whiskey Nate. Yeah, you'd be whiskey Nate on the radio. And fucking where you're just fucking raging.
Yeah, liver damage from hell. Nah, I mean, I love all my buddies that do radio, and I don't know how you guys like hang with that scene if you have to get into that part of it, because man, some of the radio guys I've hung out with are fucking wild, man.
They're crazy, dude.
They're just as wild as any of the rock stars,
Yeah.
I mean,
because
yeah.
It's the fucking thing. We're the other side of it.
Yeah, I was interviewed by Mud twice.
I love Mud.
He's great. He's the nicest guy. He interviewed me twice.
His look does not.
It's off-putting because you're sitting there
and he's like,
when you first by the second one I was used to him,
right? Yeah.
But like when I first met him, I just heard him on the radio a bunch, and then I sat down with him and we started doing this interview, and I'm just like, dude, this is just not what I had him at. You know what I'm saying? The voice, and I was like, you're so like commercial even in person. I thought that was just Mike shit,
Yeah.
Like he was like
he kind of reminds me.
He was Mud all the fucking time,
Well, he kind of reminds me when he's off air. He's very mild mannered. He's like Gus Fring in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Would you like to submit it to our online server?
Yeah.
And
but he's got the voice for radio. He's born for it.
Oh yeah, he does, and he's crazy, and he tells. Off air, he tells great fucking stories about it.
I never got to hang out with him too much, but I mean, he did. Hey, I did an interview with him one time, and we were just sitting there chilling out, and he's like, "You got any concerts coming around you might want to see or something like that?" And I was like, "Blah blah blah." And he's sitting there, and he started going through some stack of tickets there, and I think it was like a perfect circle or something like that.
And
he's like, "Here you go. Here's 2 tickets, man." And I was like, fuck yeah, bro.
Dude, I remember those days. Like,
yeah, dude, I remember, I mean, Scott and all them, Louis, we'd hang out with Louis and all them. It was always cool. I was like, my radio buddies party hard, dude, and always got tickets to shows.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of killer shows on that account,
Dude, fucking, my first, big concert I went to, was the Brewery Thunderdome.
Oh, God, I remember that.
And it was fucking Social Distortion.
Wow.
And the fucked up thing about it is like I got the tickets because I called the fucking station, the fucking 971-9300 fucking the phone number.
I still remember that.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, where are the cool parties at? And they're like, hey, come down to the station. I'll give you some fucking tickets. And he's like, be here tomorrow. And I fucking got them.
Is that station still in the same place?
Yes.
Man, I go by there sometimes, and just that turn when you get off, what is it, Newburgh or whatever?
Newburgh to Bishop.
Yeah. And I'm always just like, almost instinctively sometimes I'm like, man, it's got to still be there, you know?
Yep.
And part of my life, man, I loved that radio station. They were
right there by the JCPS building.
Yeah, man. They closed that Night's End down, I'm pretty sure, right down the road for some shit once.
Oh, my God.
That's some bad shit. It's pretty rough around there, but... Hey, man, it's Louisville, you know, it's crazy.
Newburgh is a little bit of a rough town.
It's a little rough. I mean, I love Louisville. I mean, I had to get the fuck out, obviously, but I mean, I'm up here through
You're a mountain man now, though.
Yeah, man.
But I think you've always been.
Well, yeah, but I've always, I'm from London. I've always liked,
Kentucky.
Eastern Kentucky. I mean, we live out there.
He's not from London, England.
Yeah,
sorry,
Kentucky,
sorry, all my UK
accent.
friends. Don't turn off the show.
We
now.
have a UK too, though. There's a thing, and that throws people off so much, man. Because if I was in the wrong conversation, they totally think that.
Right.
No, I'm from London, near UK, and I was like, no, London, Kentucky, near University, Kentucky, in Lexington.
Yeah,
because that's the only thing proximity.
What about an hour?
Richmond. You get to Richmond, you're talking like 2.5 hours from here to there, man. I mean, it's like out, and like when you get to town.
Yeah, when you play the fucking Holler of Doom or you play fucking Mountains of Metal out in London, Kentucky. Yeah. It's way the fuck
I'm
out
on
there.
another mountain even over from that. I'm so close to the gorge, and it's like, even then, it's like an hour and a half. My daughter still lives in London, so when I leave out from like where I live now on the farm, I get out, and it's like, it's still an hour and a half, 40 minutes even to get to London. I mean, it's dug in. It's pretty cool. I like it, but it's about a 45-minute trip to town.
You want me to do it, right?
Yeah.
He's dug in like an Alabama tick.
Like a tick. Hey, man.
Fucking the nerds out there know what that is.
Oh, yeah, they'll know.
Fucking Jesse Ventura and
Predator.
Yeah,
man. I love him, man, and I love that movie. I actually watched all of them over after Prey came out, man.
I Prey is great.
Prey's badass. It was a great way to not reimagining, just a great way, another part of it.
Another prequel, yeah.
Yeah.
Prey really did it right, where like I think Prometheus did, but then I think they dropped the ball on Covenant. Yeah,
I can agree with you on that. I think
Covenant's got good parts.
Yeah, I like Covenant.
Especially when the xenomorph morphs again and it's the black one at the end.
Yeah. Well, see,
sorry, spoiler alert.
Oh, if you ain't seen it, man, no. It's to me though, like Prey. Man, it jerked you off in every way. Yeah. They gave you everything.
The
even
pistol.
Right, the pistol. When they did the pistol, I was like, boom. Me and her were watching it, and I was like, oh. I got all pumped up about it.
The thing about that to me...
I love that shit.
Oh, me too. And the thing about that to me is, like, they took so good care with doing that stuff that, like, yeah, true fans are going to know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me and you knew.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just like all of the shit like with Terminator.
Yeah.
I know all that lore and everything.
Yeah, Terminator is great,
have you heard the conspiracy theory about that? About the Terminator being the prequel to the Matrix?
I've not heard that, but that's an interesting
outlook.
I don't know.
Essentially, John Connor is Jesus. And he's year zero when he's born.
Man, the stuff people
think
of,
year one
dude.
when he's born. And like, because Cyberdyne takes over, or Skynet does.
Skynet, yeah.
Skynet takes over and all that shit. And then what is the Matrix but plugging into the machine?
Huh. That's pretty cool, man. If they could make that like cross over into each other somehow.
That would be... It's AVP versus...
Oh, they'll get that in there too, can't they? Right? I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck?
Hey, those are some guilty pleasure movies.
Hey, Dark Horse was doing it, man. They brought together that like Predator versus like Alien shit.
You know what my favorite fucking rendition is? And this is the truth, and I have a copy, and I will show it to you. It's Predator versus Archie.
Oh, of course that has to exist. Of course. Man, of weird comics. Yeah, I've seen some weird shit. I've been looking for an odd Batman comic book for years, man, called Freaks. And it's set in like, I guess the 30s. It goes that back in it. And it come out in the 90s, probably about 98, something like that. And it was come out as like a 6-issue series. Man, I can't find that shit anywhere. It's like,
dude,
it was like it was a one-off.
Yeah. This is like the Mandela effect thing here.
It might not be. Yeah, it may not be real.
Yeah, like, you know, the Berenstein Bears.
That still fucks with my head, man.
Me too. But, like, I remember going through a friend of mine's comic collection when I was, like, 8 or 9 years old, because she would let us, and just, you can't take them out of the plastic, but you can look at them. You can look at them, yeah. And, like, I remember seeing a picture of a Batman comic where it's the bat suit, empty, laying on the pavement with blood all in it.
Yeah.
And I have never been able to find that comic ever since.
See, I don't even know if I can remember. I mean, yeah, it may be something like that.
And I don't know if it was a detective comic. I don't know if it was a Batman comic, you know, because he had the 2 lines.
Well, yeah, there was a few of them.
Now there's like 14 lines.
Oh, there's a ton. There was a few growing back then. I remember Batman was my thing for a while.
I still think one of the best stories that they've done in recent times is Damned.
Yeah, I mean, have you been watching any of the stuff that they put out on the animation? No. Man, they've been getting
the Killing Joke was the last one that I saw.
That was pretty good. I mean, but they've got that and the whole collection now. I don't know if you're a streamer or anything, but
Well, see, when you say the animation, the animation to me, is the animated series.
Well, yeah, of course. That's the what they call that, the pillar of it. I mean, yeah.
They really
Which one?
Okay, the one all the way up until the New Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Okay.
Because the animation there for a while stayed the same as the animated series, and then it changed to the Justice League animation.
Yeah, and what year was that one?
Like 94.
Is that the one with Alex Winters doing Joker's voice?
Yes.
Dude, that's awesome. I remember that shit. That was great. That was actually what got me started on watching comic book, hero movies, because I wasn't really into that. It ended up getting me into Japanime a little bit too, which, that was like very short-lived. But yeah, I love all of the Batman animated movies that I've been seeing.
Oh, Sub-Zero is... Dude. Those, like, Phantasm, Mask of the Phantasm, and Sub-Zero are great movies. And see, Sub-Zero actually has the new Justice League animation.
Oh, Sub-Zero?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, things have changed. It's been a while, man.
Yeah, because Sub-Zero came out in like 99.
Huh. Man, I'm way behind on that shit. They just started over that New Universe thing a little bit, and I've been trying to read some of those.
Which is, you're talking about the New 52 series?
It's like weird to me, man.
Yeah, because the only person who was not, it's basically Flashpoint is what it is.
Yeah, I stopped on it. Like, I was trying to do Lobo and couldn't do it, man.
The only person who was not affected in that whole fucking thing is Batman. The only fucking comic lines that were not affected in the New 52 series was Batman.
Batman. Yeah, because I read
because the New 52 Green Lantern and dude, you got to think when you're in this is the prog side of comic in my opinion, is when you have a multi-faceted fucking storyline playing out in all of your fucking comics.
Yeah.
Green Lantern, like Civil War was.
Oh yeah, like it's just growing and connecting. That's all it is.
Yeah, and it's like the X-Men and Spider-Man and the Avengers and the Hulk, the Thunderbolts,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and this whole multifaceted fucking storyline that you've got to tell over fucking 97 comics.
Oh yeah, it's insane. Well, they started doing X-Men back in the 90s, did this thing called the Extinction Agenda series, and they crossed it over New Mutants, and it was the end of New Mutants. It was the last time they did it. It turned into X-Force, or I think it was X-Force after that.
Something like that.
Yeah. But anyways, and it was the one where Cable was running shit and everything after that. But anyways, New Mutants, man. Anyways, they did a whole crossover series, this Extinction Agenda. I ended up actually writing an Ohlm song after one of the places in it called Genosha.
Yeah.
And we got a song called Genoshan. And it come from that. And that was my most memorable crossover series, was reading that because, they enslave all the mutants. they really get that William Stryker thing going on in it. It's like them and Mojo is in it. They take them to Mojo World and like they've got control over.
I've always thought Mojo was the ugliest fucking comic book.
He's got to be a bitch. He's got
to
to be a bitch to draw.
Yeah,
that's a one thing. And it's like I remember I never got into Mojo much. That was the only series where I got into Mojo because I loved X-Men so much, and I liked New Mutants a lot.
Yeah,
but I mean. Like Mojo to me, I was always had to have respect. Like Venom, it's like that's got to be a hard costume.
Oh yeah, because Venom, he's not black. He's blue.
It's blue. That's a sheen thing.
Yeah, it's the sheen thing.
And that shade work, man.
Now,
I mean, that's some.
I'm glad you brought that up because, like, to me, there's two very distinct Venoms. There's the original, the McFarlane.
The McFarlane,
Venom. Yeah, and the way McFarlane does Venom. But then again, there's like the Bagley Venom.
Yeah.
Which which
is more like, I guess it's almost hawkish in a sense to me. Almost he portrays that side of Venom more is what it is.
Yeah, because
he's not bad with the elasticity and shit and everything like that. He does a pretty good job on it, but McFarlane just ruined me.
Oh, yeah,
basically is what happened.
absolutely.
I got so used to seeing Spider-Man with like skinny shins, and then every one of his villains being the same thing and shit like that. And he did it in New Mutants a lot too. But that now that like it's not so much them, but Spider-Man. When I watch Spider-Man movies now, if he doesn't have that weird contrast going on somehow in it, I'm like thrown off almost because I'm like, he's got to be this weird like.
Yeah, and I think they did that amazingly with the Tom Holland stuff.
Yeah, they did. They pulled that off, and I noticed that. I picked up on that. I'm like, they're really making him look in the CG stretched out, like the uniform looks, in it, which is pretty cool. I love the McFarlane stuff. Fuck, McFarlane was in a Levi's commercial when I was a kid or something, drawing like Cable or something in one of them.
That's great.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like, but he's like a household name for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are a couple of things he did that I was like, but I got into
which is funny because if you notice that Spawn's not like that.
Yeah, I mean,
there's parts that are, but not like the fucking Marvel Spider-Man series.
He chills out a little bit on it, I think. Well, I mean, Youngblood stuff was like a little like kind of like I think his release point on that. I think was that him?
No,
him?
That's not Todd McFarlane.
That's not him.
No,
he did something else in Image. I thought, and then it was real like crazy. Like, what was that?
The Max.
That's Sam Keith, ain't it?
Sam Keith is the Max. Yeah.
But I thought he got it. Well, maybe it's the cape in Spawn or something.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Like I could see he was getting it out in the art somewhere through there. Like
yeah.
But
which is awesome because I used to love that show of the Max. On
I love
MTV.
it from Oddities.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the awesome fucking. Of course, it was a great comic series, like a one-off. But it never finished. They pulled it like halfway through because of the pandemic, and it was Batman and the Max.
No shit.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of that even.
Yeah, and it's like dude. The Max fucking artwork.
Really?
Yeah,
I've got to check that out, dude. I've still got that VHS from MTV Oddities somewhere.
That's awesome.
Like it can't work anymore, but man, I probably wore it out. But I loved that, and I was huge. I had all of the Max comics. I even had the graphic collection forever. I was hugely obsessed with that show. Plus the other show that come on Oddities. What was it? Fucking The Head.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And his head would open up and the alien Roy would jump out and shit. MTV was so fucking cool, man, back then. I tell my daughter that all the time. I'm like, you have no idea. Because you came along during the real world era of MTV really taking over.
Yeah. The fucking, all the reality shows and shit.
Like, yeah, dude, I was like, I'm trying to watch TV to get the fuck away from reality. Why do you keep putting stupid that's not reality anyways, in my opinion. But, who the fuck wants to see that shit? If it's like, prairie dogs and shit and like, rhinos, I'm cool with that. I like animals. I don't want to watch people because I'm trying to get the fuck away from people, to be honest. At least people like that. I don't want to be on a reality show. I'm sure you don't want to be on a reality show.
No, definitely not. So, dude, we've been, this is going to be, I think we're going to have to cut the interview here.
Yeah. I'd probably need to get the fuck out. But
No, because we've been talking for 2 hours here.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, we got some content, as they say.
This will be the whole deal. This is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But because this is airing on March 17th today, you all are playing March 17th.
Yes.
So let's talk about this. Let's actually fucking rein it in here for a minute.
All right. Do some Ohlm stuff. Yeah.
So if we're going to promote this show on this day.
All right. Yeah, I'm Planet of the Tapes. That's in Prayer Line. It's St. Patty's Day. It should be pretty crazy, man.
It'll be packed. Yeah. And that is a small place.
I heard. I have not been there yet. I know Sheila and her husband. I've been meaning to get there. Actually, my buddy made the tables there. But
well, yeah, and one of your other buddies is involved with the show.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, I'm going to say something about this right now. We're trying to pull off a cover that it's supposed to be, I'm sure they'd probably rather me be secret.
Is it La Via Strinigato?
No. God, we cannot ever do that. So, I mean, we can get up to the middle of it and it's over with. But honestly, I don't know who the fuck all is involved in this show. Because I just heard about, like Dave come up to me and he's just like, oh, it's a show, Planet of the Tapes. I'm like, yeah, Sheila's place. And I was like, then it was like, I don't know if we could play it, something like that. Something come up. I didn't think we was playing this. And I was like, okay, we're playing it. And I'm like, well, who do I get a hold of about info about the show, because I wanted to know, and Dave was taking care of it. Eventually, it's one of those things we found out and communicated a little better.
Harry, I took care of it.
Really? God, man. And it's just like one of those, but I'm pumped about that show, actually.
I'm going to be there.
I know.
Because
I figured you'd be there at least.
Well, I got to support homeboy.
Well.
Fucking, it's what it is.
Well, I was like, Todd's coming, so I know you ain't going to be playing the Overload show.
Nope.
So,
no, we're not.
You should come out, man.
Well, hell yeah. And it's a tiny little place. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love going there. I went to, the last time I was there for an art show, a Cold 40. So many awesome fucking artists there. I got some pretty cool pieces. Got some resin cast stuff that's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I love it. And, and the very next week, fucking Art Sanctuary.
Yeah, man. I'm pumped to play it. I like... I
wish you all could play that show. Too bad Dave was Dave's on vacation.
I know, he's on vacation. And then actually we had another show coming up recently,
and
Atomic Bitch Wax or something like that.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be coming around town, and somebody asked us about that show, and I was like, oh man, I'd love to have played it, and I was like, well, we got to be out of town. So it's like I said, even people think like, oh, you got a 3-piece band, it's got to be easier with scheduling. I was like, oh no, man, everybody's always doing something.
I'm in a 3-piece band.
Yeah, everybody's always doing something, and that's one thing I was like, I always try to keep it to 3-piece or 4-piece bands because it's easy. It's as easy as it's going to get to deal with somebody.
Yeah.
When she was just playing with an acoustic guitar for a while, I was like, she being my wife, I was like, man, it's just so easy. You just got to show up and have a guitar. I was like, but then again, it's got to be also so scary because it's just you and the guitar. And I was just like, man, it's like, the support of a band behind you makes you feel.
Well, I shot him. Yeah.
Luckily, she's good at it. I could never be put on the spot and do that shit. There's no way. There's no way.
I've tried to do acoustic shows, and I don't know what it is about being in the band. Yeah. I don't know if it's like...
It's a security blanket, man. Totally.
It really is.
It's the best way you can put it. It's like having three girlfriends at a time, or having a relationship like that.
I'm pretty sure you've probably done that.
Well, whatever, my younger days.
That's on.
I was a different guy back then. No, I'm married. I'm a wholesome man. I've been domesticated now.
Right.
But yeah, it's
what does he say? He's like, but that's a different story.
That's a whole different story. My mama's still alive. We won't tell that yet. But it's you really got to do a relationship. Kind of look at it like that.
Yeah,
because you never know, man. I know I'm hard to deal with. That's one thing. I'm like, I love Josh and Dave. They are. I can't believe they put up with me for 13 years almost now, because I'm pretty difficult and demanding.
Are we sure it's only 13 years?
I think it's 13 years.
Dude, that's 2010.
Then it's 2009.
Really?
I think
I thought it was more like 2006, 2007.
I think officially it's 2008. We've been pitching it around and stuff. I had been messing around and writing for a while, but at earliest it would be 2008 because I was like, after I'd come off the road touring and stuff, it was the first thing I did was start playing with Josh
Okay.
and writing these songs. We didn't
So
have
15 years.
probably about 14, 15 years. Same lineup too, which is amazing.
Because see, Overload's in 07.
Yeah, man. I mean,
And fucking
yeah, because you guys were doing it when I was in Anacathera.
yeah.
So I mean, y'all been around a while, dude.
Yeah.
That's
so
saying something.
07 to fucking,
That's
fucking,
keep on trucking, man.
Yeah, it's fucking a long time.
It's
dude.
a long haul. I mean, that says something, man. I mean, these guys, like I said, I've known Josh forever. He's just stuck with me. And, at this point, Dave's just stuck with me now, too, Because, no matter what, if any of us ever even thought of the idea of being like, oh, I don't know, man, Nathan's kind of fucking up. This guy's kind of fucking up. There can't be no thinking like that even really.
No.
It can't be anything without all three of us.
Exactly.
And and it's come to be a thing like that. And I think it's healthy for a band to, have a love-hate thing sometimes, like it keeps the passion going.
It does. And I think it's interesting, too, because, you're all in the moment to sit there and be like, hey, I can't do this, or what do you think and what do you think? It's like, oh, I think we should. Okay, well then, okay, let's do it. Yeah. It's super simple to fix. And
it's easy to definitely make decisions.
Yeah.
That's one thing, especially in that situation. The fact that I get to go and stay a lot on the farm probably helps too, because, we'll be taking weeks or so, sometimes a month or more of breaks, and, I think once you get the creative juices built up before you get them flowing can sometimes be a good thing.
Oh, for sure.
You take, it's good.
Yeah, and getting the stuff out there that where you can just sit and write for 2 fucking months and say, and just stockpile it, and then give do the old school thing. Yeah. Give a couple of things, give a compilation and say, hey, here's this riff, this riff, this riff, this riff, and this riff. Send them on. Yeah. And I think that's where everybody has a fucking recorder on their phone now and could do all that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's very accessible now.
Yeah. And it's kind of an interesting dynamic to how you used to do things.
Yeah.
I remember recording shit on tape, giving it to my buddy at school and said, hey, I recorded this last night.
Oh, yeah.
Let me know what you think.
Oh, yeah. I remember those days.
Fucking, and actually, wheeling and dealing and getting a fucking Tascam recorder.
Yeah, you get a Tascam 8-track, man. I remember that's what everybody was doing it on back in the day. And and you could there was some way to flip it and do another track or two on it.
Yeah.
Dummy track it. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But I never knew how to mess with those things, but my buddies all had one. I had a lot of tapes like that, jam tapes and stuff. But
and that's where the first time I ever learned about backmasking.
Oh, yeah.
Because the other side is the other 2 channels.
Yeah, man. It's really
because it's really
you can ping pong. You can take a 4-track and ping it, can't you? Ping pong one. They called it something like that, where you could turn a 4-track into an 8-track.
Yeah, you just you bounce down.
Yeah.
You so basically you have your first channel, your first deal. You probably record your drums.
Yeah.
They go through everything, and then you bounce them down. Mm-hmm. And then you put them on their stereo, so you've got an A and a B.
Mm. Hey. We're about done wrapping up.
We gotta hurry. We gotta go meet them still.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Ooh, I almost forgot about that.
We gotta work in the morning.
I gotta work, too.
I do, too. The show tonight is Planet of the Tapes. Fucking be there.
You have to edit that part.
Nah, we're good. So, off of the newest album, Colot, what do you want me to play?
How about shit? We're gonna play it that night. Play Thaw.
Awesome. You heard him. Here it is from Ohlm. It is Thaw.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby. Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soulgrinder Zine, an independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.